Easy peasy. Beautiful cover girl. Let's listen to some shenanigans. I'll probably just vibe out.
To me, you raised some objections to the biological view that I expressed that women are adult human females, and you brought up, well, you said, we haven't always known about chromosomes. Again, I don't think that chromosomes figure into the definition of biological sex. You also mentioned intersex people. So it sounded like you were trying to argue against the reality of males and females. But then at other times, you say, there are other cultures that have a third gender that are biologically male. And I think you might agree that there are animals that are biologically male and biologically female. So I guess just let me get clear on your view. Do you think that there are males and females
Of course.
out there in the world?
I believe it's bimodal. There are males and females, and most people will fall pretty solidly on either end of the spectrum. But I do feel there are a significant number of people who are closer to the middle in terms of intersex.
Okay, to be clear, sex is not bimodal. There are traits that can be bimodal, and that, like, for instance, not all men are 5'10" and not all women are 5'4", but like the differentiation in like traits will be bimodal. We tend to have like this curve and this curve and overlap, but sex is generally seen as two distinctly different things, possessing two different, like one of each of the gametes or whatever, either the male spermidine or the female spermidine.
Sex expression.
Oh, well, if you also think that there are adults in humans, then what exactly is wrong with the definition that women are adult human females? You believe in adults, you believe in humans, and you believe in females. Is it just you think there are counterexamples to this definition? Is that the problem?
My belief in the value of a definition, it should be said first, is not determined by its consistency. There are consistent definitions that are still morally wrong. For example, the Nazis grouped humans into taxonomical categories, which at times were consistent, usually because they were very blunt and lacking in nuance. They were just monstrous and unnecessary.
So now Vosh has stepped into the second argument that he's making. It has to do with whether or not there's like an immorality of a definition. That this guy also is, I think, a decent enough knockdown.
Going to find your little cops.
They were suitable to the Nazis because they allowed for the dehumanization of large groups of people. But I don't think we review them in retrospect based on their consistency. Like, oh, well, they say any of the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel are so human. Ah, well, that's easy to find out with a 23andMe. Of course not. So I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm only saying that my concern here, first and foremost, is not one.
Oh, that's
even
cool.
if the biological model was perfect, I would oppose it, but it's not. Because chromosomal abnormalities are all it takes to throw this up to a loop.
Now we're going back to the argument we made.
When you transition, you can change sex to an extent. Not entirely, but certainly there are categories of sex that are altered when you have chromosomes of a certain designation determine the hormones you see, both during puberty and in the womb, and that determines the shape your body takes, the genitalia, the ways in which your body develops. But if you have a trans woman who took puberty blockers before she hit puberty, then transitioned over, you are a person who is, let's say a doctor would not call it this breast cancer, prostate cancer, a wide variety of heart-related conditions. This is not a person who'd be going to the doctor and saying, yep, I'm a male, and the doctor would go, yep, your problems are male problems. It wouldn't. So if that's the case, where does that line fall? What about people who have the XXY chromosome?
I'm running away.
Y chromosome doesn't.
That part is kind of true. You can kind of change aspects of your sex depending on.
These categories are not called for, and that's why traditionally doctors have just cut off the aberrant genitalia of intersex people or try to force people into roles that best made them fit a binary. It just doesn't always work.
Okay. Yes. I have watched some of your videos and I've heard your views on biological sex, and I think it's a commonly held view
I love
about
sex.
what biological sex consists in. I think it is based on a misunderstanding. I don't think that biological sex is defined in terms of chromosomes or genitals or hormone levels, and you can see that by just considering the full range of the plant and animal kingdom and how the sexes are realized across the plant and animal kingdom, and you'll see that there's no facts about genitals, no definition, nothing about hormones, nothing about chromosomes. So we can talk about that a little more if you'd like and try to get clear on what biological sex really is, but I just wanted to quickly point out that in my opening statement, what I argued was on all of these proposals, it turns out that not all trans women are women. On every proposal, it is false that all trans women are women. So I'm not really in a position that I need to defend the biological view. If you want to beat up on it and criticize it and reject it, okay. All I said was, if this is what women means, then not all
is
trans
this guy?
women are women. Yes, we agree on that. But I thought it would have been more pressing, given your views, to try to defend the charges that all those other proposals also entail, that not all trans women are women. And as far as I can tell, you haven't tried to do that yet.
Well, the prescriptive view.
Would you like to talk about biological sex, or should we move on to something a little more?
Well, the biological sex, if it's something you want to defend, I assume this is you're the belief, of course, that a woman is defined by biology.
If you were asking me, what does the word ordinary mean?
Hold on, sorry, game time. Oh, I thought it just glitched.
Then I think those trans-inclusive philosophers that I quoted are correct. That is what the word ordinarily means. I think
What do you think?
what does it mean to be a woman? Well, if you would ask me, what does it mean to be a computer or a television, or I'm just pointing at things in the room, I would take that question to be asking what it does ordinarily mean. I don't have my own private language. I communicate using a public language that we all share. And so if you ask me what a word means, and I wouldn't know, I might check the dictionary to see
Your
what this word
definition
ordinarily means.
is entirely informed by tradition. You're aware, of course, of the fact that the majority of Americans today, in 20 years, my view will be more popular than yours. Will you switch over then? Are you going to defer entirely to what you see in the dictionary?
Then it would no longer be true that that's what the word ordinarily means.
So okay, well then sure, then that's fine by me. If we're here to make prescriptions, then sure.
I haven't
problem.
made any prescriptions.
You defer
I'm
to the
not sure why
prescription of others. All definitions are wrong. From the definition of soil in the books of geologists to the definition of skyscraper in the book of civil engineers, everything is fought for. And I will fight for the definition, the prescriptive view
So noble.
that trans women are women.
Base.
Because
Base
there
fighter.
is harm and inconsistency present in other definitions.
Okay, can you tell me what the definition is that you defend?
Sure. I think that woman, like the concept
I
of
think Vosh should have held him here to give a definition of woman. If you're attacking Vosh's, so in his paper, and he has one too, which is strange why he wouldn't posit it. He has a traditionalist view, or he calls it the traditionalist view of gender. I don't know why he didn't put that definition forward, unless maybe he just wanted to argue against this idea that he has a personal definition, because he's referring to that concept of private language, that nobody can utter something that means something only to them. There's no such thing as a private language; they're just meaningless utterances. But
woman is an arbitrary and vague collection of aesthetics, values, roles.
he has to stop saying arbitrary. Arbitrary implies a randomness or a lack of purposefulness in selecting things. When we create a category, it is by definition not arbitrary. Well, unless it is by definition arbitrary, like using a random number generator or something, right? Like
a bunch of social constructions that are typically tied to sex that just sort of float in the public conscious. They vary depending on where you are. What a woman is expected to be in the Bible Belt South is very different from what they're expected to be in like Seattle or whatever.
Hold on a second. So when you said in the Bible Belt South, there's something that a woman is expected to be. Can you tell me who it is that's expected to be this way? What does woman mean in that sentence?
Well, whoever they would consider to be a woman, which overwhelmingly would be biologically female people.
Whoever they would consider to be a woman. And what did woman mean there when you said Like, well, let's check. To be a woman.
I
What does
already
woman
said
mean?
biologically female. You don't need to prompt it. I already said it.
Vosh is mad because
Biologically
he
female?
realizes he just fucked
Oh,
himself.
adult human females. You mean.
Well, we are talking about adult humans, I assume.
Okay, so you're saying what woman means is it's this collection of aesthetics, rules, and perspectives that are associated with women, and by women you mean adult human females.
Yes.
It's so this is another the performativity when he talks about Butler's definition of gender. I think in this paper, it's actually so sad that Vosh has managed to. So I thought that the academic definitions given of the sex-gender distinction, that is his name Thompson, that he addresses in this paper are actually really shit. Now I don't know if most professional philosophers suck, or if when it comes to gender people turn their brains off, but they seem like pretty easy to know. Like I feel like I could write in response to how dog shit a lot of these things are. And his argumentation, his counter-argumentation, is a pretty easy follow, which I think is probably bad, because if I can follow it, then it seems like everyone's really shit. But it's interesting that Vosh has managed to hop around to like almost every single shit academic definition of the sex-gender divide that this guy is like given in his paper. It truly is like a cheat sheet for how this debate was going to go. If Vosh would have just read this one paper, he could have done this in 30 minutes off stream.
The role of woman in a social construct is one which is tied to sex. But that doesn't mean that it's prescriptively tied to sex. Or to give another example, you're going to see types of music preferences which are heavily associated with people's racial groups or nationalities. But that doesn't mean that there's an inherent prescriptive association there, only that circumstantially these arbitrary associations came to be.
No one, I don't even know what he's saying. He's just really fuck. Eventually, it was funny for a little bit, but I think I'm gonna start getting triggered. He manages to word vomit out like so much of nothing. Like no one is arguing that like different people can't have different preferences. Now he's getting into digging into these biological essentialist arguments that Thompson argues against here. The idea like, well, just because you are a woman doesn't necessarily mean that you have to believe in a certain set of things or be a certain set of actions or aesthetics. But just because there are those certain set of actions or aesthetics doesn't mean that there aren't women as well. Or even if we wanted to eliminate those like compulsory things related to gender, it doesn't mean that we're creating a sex-gender distinction either. Like none of these things logically follow. He's just saying so much random shit.
Or to put it another way, the type of music that you're going to hear in Thailand hit like #1 charts is pretty different to what you're going to hear like #1 charting over here in America. But that doesn't mean that people over there are biologically inclined to that music as opposed to ours. It's due to proximate bias. People in that area
This guy's fucking
listen to
decked.
music because that's the
Oh, it's
music
Thomas,
they have,
not Thompson,
because that's
sorry.
the music they have. They pass it down to other people who are around who happen to be people in that part of the world. And likewise, you know, you have an example here of woman, a sort of broad definition, that we do prescribe to biological females. But that's precisely my argument. See, I don't know
if the philosopher guy just doesn't want to tackle this because of how dog shit this concept is that Vosh keeps reintroducing. This idea that like you're prescribing a definition. All definitions are it's a prescription. Maybe he doesn't want to touch that because it's such a fucking weird can of worms to get into. Or I don't know. I'm kind of curious what his thoughts are on that.
a libertarian here in the classical sense. I don't believe it's right to impart roles and responsibilities on a person based on their birth gender. It's very weird. I'm not looking for an end to sex.
Like he's not even saying that. And then again, Vosh is giving one of the arguments.
5, 4, 3,
Vosh is giving this argument. If adult female
1.
humans are adult female humans, then biological determinism is true with respect to them, and adult females, social, psychological descriptions are inevitable. Determined by like this is just. I'll stop revisiting. Okay, I'm glad that this came out. I wanted to read the paper in advance to show you that, like, even if you're willing to do like the tiniest amount, a modicum of preparation, just a little bit of preparation, it usually will help. Bam! Bam! All have to be very easy to watch.
Foreseeable future, at least. What I'm against is the idea that some arbitrary hormone washes you receive will decide a massive category of expectations. True identity.
asked you what the definition of woman is. What makes someone a woman? I
That's
thought you had answered that, but now we're going to get a different answer.
these are what woman is, the concept of woman. A
Let's go
woman,
about
who prefers to be associated with that rather than to archetypes.
the person who prefers to be associated, right? Yeah, that's the social worldview. So what do you make of the argument that on that definition, not all trans women will be women?
No, they want to be associated with that rather than
What if they don't want to be What if her? She right? I was
there are
Not all
cisgender
trans women, not all women aesthetics and views and perspectives or whatever.
but they are nonetheless like choosing to refer to themselves as women. There are some but fervently reject elements that women exist. I'm only saying that they are associated like if I choose to associate myself with the archetype of being a man, and there are roles associated with being a No, there can't be one woman because these concepts are arbitrary and stupid. For example, if you consider
Women subscribe to the argument.
What does that mean? What's the argument? No, what do you mean? You can't define that's not a definition of word. What is the definition?
give me an example. A woman is stereotypical woman with their Now those are two archetypes of woman and femininity that are completely contradictions and simultaneously being.
No, you can't. That. Hold on, I'm gonna order food. This is irritating now. There must be something in common, or there must be some way that if you're appealing to something, contradiction, absolutely contradiction, but they're both then you're appealing. Because it's funny because again,
Target you.
Washington making an argument. He's actually giving this guy's argument in his paper. Washington is incredibly strong. Even though these two people have totally different gender norms, they're both so weak. What's making them different? This is similar to the argument that this guy
Special coming.
it's a better argument. Imagine a world where the cultural roles of women and they sex are inverted. Females dress like women. Here, I didn't think how to apply the principle. But then he gives the knockout argument to this, basically saying that like,
Stack.
that are not wearing dresses, but like you're providing a strong argument that these categories exist by virtue of saying men wearing dresses are applying these things.
Special coming.
During motherly, while also being, selfish issues, money. Those don't fit, but nonetheless, they're both considered archetypes of femininity. So it's about associating yourself with a collection of
Stack.
categories rather than representing a singular archetype.
Would you have a better argument? I would say that women and male, or woman and female, I would be interested in talking about that. I mean, there are things that I've thought about, but I can't really test them because
Special coming.
male gametes, right? I think is generally how we do things. And I think for the most part, biologically, I feel like feels like gender, maybe borrowing a little bit from Judith Butler, right? That gender is like a sort of performance that we have. Gender isn't really sex. Now, a lot of the ways
Watch
we
your
perform
step.
gender are kind of like performed by sex, not necessarily. That's kind of how I see it. But gender is often very tied into what our sex is.
Watch your step.
But this is a factor we I think that a gender sex distinction, I don't even think it's necessary.
Watch your step.
That's a whole other thing. Actually, I would go so far. I would argue gender sex distinction is I think you can have trans people with gender sex distinction, and you can have trans people without gender sex distinction. But that's a different argument. But I don't have any conservative people to talk about this. Because you clearly have people who feel like someone who looks like a gender. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's really how in that case,
Run.
where our determination feels like there's a difference between the biological fact of the matter versus the gender. That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it seems like it's different going on. Like if I were to give you a room of men who are like ultra fucking feminine, like crossdressers, like not like drag people, but like people that are very convincingly men dressed as women, and I was like, do you feel like you're in a room full of men or women? Like you might want to say man, but you have no way of knowing unless you're gonna go dick check everybody, which people don't do. We often make determinations of gender. 99% or in chat rooms, I've never seen someone else as something, right? But something going on here. Yeah, I'm really interested. Destiny, do you not agree that the definition of woman is
Run.
the definition of the performance of that sex? I think
Run.
Speaking as someone who has read more philosophy than is probably good for me, I just want to give everyone blanket permission to read Gordian make them in this case, Wash would have been well right. Cul-de-sac because of political uncertainty and temperamental timidity or something. Creative thinkers are actually ontology of political economy is incredibly. Is this real? Thinking about it,
Run.
even just one of us gave him 3 months worth of coaching on history of Western philosophy. His biggest weakness in his argument is the lack of
You mage. Trust you.
easily run further than anyone. First, it lays down pseudo-academic history. The logic is childish and misinterpreted. Philosophy based like super simple. Define all the branches.
Run.
Plato, Aristotle, Aquinas, Scotus, Locke, Descartes, Spinoza, Hume, Kant, Hegel, Mill, Nietzsche, Russell, Wittgenstein, Hoffer, Sartre, and Sartre. can't tell if these are psyops posters. I truly don't.
So here it said, subscribes to the archetype of woman. So when I said, what is this archetype? You said it is defined by the name woman. Yes.
Of all the associates. Yeah, we associate many things with woman. Very few. There's a whole lot of social stuff.
Yeah. There's other people who said something like this. I mean, so ways to avoid this subject definition of woman is to say that woman is anyone who identifies as a woman and then mention the word woman. Anyone who is willing to say attribute that word to themselves. So then you God said,
They zoop around it.
well, as I said in my opening statement, this definition is restricted. Whatever the definition means, it's not exclusive to women. And here's how it's going to work in this case. This definition we just provided is going to make it so that it's an English-speaking affair. So there are no women outside of the English-speaking world. You would have to be familiar with the word woman, attribute it to yourself. And so an implication is there are no non-English speaking women, and there are no English women around. I find those to be pretty exciting.
Watch your step.
I think that the woman didn't really exist before as a months ago, let alone throughout all of history. You know, the archetype in the
Watch your step.
woman that we you're right. It may not exist to people who don't speak English, but by the time they live, it will be a different thing. And it's
Watch your step.
Every society I don't think there's an objective definition.
This is true, but the problem is that Walk is missing the point.
Watch your step.
The guy is making the point that if this is true, that the definition of and not all trans women. Because now you're trying to say that there is some like fact of the matter of what is it. But you have to acknowledge that if you're going to define it,
but if you're looking for some true exclusionary stuff, I would agree that any person who I think some kind of impulsive would have to be a product of their engagement with the social roles that they would have to develop.
you can also attack this on like, okay, sure, Josh. Do you think that if you say the definition changes up 600, what about from 60,000? Because that would seem to undermine his argument that, like, oh yeah, like it changes like every 20 seconds. Really? Would truly not be able to identify a
That's the only case. Okay. Sorry.
You said it seemed like you were willing to concede that it exists.
Not this time.
Yeah, so that it sounds right. I agree with you that the view doesn't entail women outside of English-speaking contexts. And in fact, you might even include women
With respect, wait, if I may, with respect, not to get into your because the concept changes, that doesn't mean that there won't be privileges across society.
If there are equivalents, then what do you mean when you say the concept changes? Then it feels like there's not much of a change. Now it feels like we're playing word games. What do you mean by the concept changes? Or if anything, if the philosophy guy is quick, if the concept changes, it sounds like the strongest argument ever. If there is some
concept, you know, the social collective word popped into existence. But you're right. Because you can't know what
Target you.
There, yes. Who are you referring to? That's the full issue. That's the meat of it. Who are you referring to? You're referring to something No. Anyone? Hold on,
Target
it can't
you.
be anyone. The whole point of a category is to include some things and exclude other things. You can't have by definition, you can't have a category that includes everyone, except for the category called everyone. Why would you say this?
women as that will belong. This is somewhat. They don't have the word woman for woman, but they have very different expectations of what it means.
Do you think that there are no women in India? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have not been to India, but I personally would be pretty shocked if Indians didn't have an understanding of like male and female. Now, maybe they don't, but
There than we do over here. Massive.
Where that big bitch?
And they have a lot of women there. Despite the fact that the real woman doesn't exist.
yep, Rosh is making his argument. Even though they don't have that concept, you're still saying there are women there, right?
Yeah, I agree.
With respect, I feel like I don't know how you're interpreting what I'm saying here. They don't use the term woman. They have, I don't know if the Indian term for woman.
Well,
Sure
some
they
of
have.
them do, but yeah.
Well,
Some of them do speak English.
when I say
It actually wouldn't surprise me if there were more Indians in India. Well, let's check. How many Indian people speaking? Yeah. Wait, hold on. There's a disconnect. I thought there were more English speakers. Whatever. It's only the elites. Yeah, it's gonna take business. Damn. Fun fact that
the term doesn't exist outside the definition of woman, what I'm saying is that it is a multifaceted gender. See it in different facets. It's so different to like a southern conservative belle than it is to a progressive living in New York City. In fact, there's such different concepts in terms of the social roles involved that we
Defensive.
let's ask ourselves, is that actually true? If I were to go to the South, I would do the same thing. What I have is what I actually feel about it. So, definitely.
Range 5.
Oh, that was about fires. Fires actually taken. Thank God. Absolutely great. Oh my God. The boomerang
Defensive.
is happening, boys. Coming back. Hopefully we don't lose this one.
That's all I'm referring to. So I'm not literally saying that the archetype of range that popped up into existence 6 months ago exclusively exists in the I'm saying it's so secondary, it's so ugly, it's so meaningless that there are many humans right now and there were many more yesterday.
Range 5.
I wonder what this guy is.
Defensive.
I know that you've got another round in the tank.
Oh my god!
Both of you guys, I know you do, but I do want to jump into these because, folks, I got to tell you.
Vox is like saved by the bell, sorry. You gotta feel like so good about this stuff. He clearly has no idea. Actually, way better. Probably.
Range 5.
Nice recovery.
We can't take any more pressure. You got a ton of pressure. Q&A. They're both busy guys. You want to get them out of here.
Defensive.
So we're going to jump into it right now. Thanks very much for the fight.
favorite color is red without identifying red as your favorite color.
Is this a question for me?
No, that's fine.
Can you identify someone? Yeah, they said, can you identify
Identifying red as your favorite color.
Can you identify as someone whose favorite color is red without what? Having red as your favorite color?
Without identifying red as your favorite color.
It's supposed to be that there's no feature such that you have it only if you maybe what this person is asking isn't this having the feature of your favorite color so suppose red is a favorite color. Is that going to be necessarily coextensive with identifying having red as a favorite color? So no, I don't think so. I think that's going to be another example, just like being rich and being funny and being tall or whatever. It is possible for your favorite color to be red and not know that your favorite color is red and not identify as having a favorite color as having a favorite color of I don't even know how to finish that sentence.
He's stumbling.
Not identify
Uh-oh.
it that way. Here's
Wash
an
has got him on the
example of how that
ropes.
could be. Suppose you're just new to colors. You were colorblind from birth, but a surgery was performed, and now you're seeing colors for the first time. But it's just color splotches on the wall, and you don't know which color is which. But you know that
This
one's
guy's
your favorite.
frazzled.
So your favorite color is red, but you don't know that this color is red. You don't identify as having a favorite color as red. So that would be an example to show how those two can come apart. Can I just very really quickly say, I meant to start the debate in a more sort of ironic way and say something nice about Josh.
Find shelter.
Of two gametes for reproduction.
So yeah, that's just you can look at any biology.
Wait, there are.
Find shelter.
And they keep running back. Eventually, like, people who are super healthy settle on a definition of sex that has absolutely no utility, you know? Like, their definition of sex is going to be like, okay, here we go. There are only one or two possibilities. Whether or not the half-life decay of this atom is exactly that's the one thing. It's like, okay, at this point, what do you think? Yeah. But like they can believe whatever they want.
Epic owns by now.
Because like at the end of the day, the biological argument. Biological. Yeah.
Find shelter.
And to follow Dr. Cal, no, so use Dr. Thank you, Sue.
Find shelter.
itself and not the symbol.
That was really a question.
Bam! Bam!
Watch your step. Watch your step.
Speaking verbally, it's hard to at least mention distinction, but if the person meant it's a symbol. Oh, yeah, I agree. You mean like that symbol. H2O. Yeah, that's a symbol. But if you meant H2O, like the thing that's in this bottle, no, that's not a symbol. It's a molecule that we drink.
I just wanted to say,
and we're not
getting to
drinking
refer
symbols.
to the heavy water, the
So
ice.
yeah, I think the conclusion is just between the term H2O and mentioning Yes, water has 5 letters. No, water doesn't have any letters at all. The stuff that we drink doesn't have any letters at
It's
all.
literally an isotope.
That's a pretty basic distinction, but I think it's
There's like an
important.
extra electron.
Watch your step. Find shelter. Watch your step. Run out.
H2O is not water in the same sense that the and Renee agrees.
Run out. Watch your step. Find shelter. Watch your step. Watch your step. Run out.
David Crackle says, if ice is water, why can't a trans woman be a woman?
Find shelter. Watch your step.
Well, ice is water because it's all the same stuff, just in different phases. It's always, it's the same thing.
Close.
It's not everything. It's solid water. So now the question is it trans?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, that would depend on what you
Arbitrary.
Is it the case that
LOL.
being a trans woman guarantees that you're a woman in that sense? And I think what it is, as I said, it's just a philosophical puzzle, is it turns out that on all the views that are sort of being discussed in the literature, the answer is no. It doesn't turn out that all trans women are women. Whatever woman means, it's going to be possible for someone to identify as a woman while being assigned male at birth, but not meet that definition of woman.
I feel like that wasn't a problem with my
You've got
Yeah.
an for Bosch. Made by Jim Bob says, if the term woman is a construct, doesn't that mean, quote, trans women are women isn't actually true and is just a construct itself?
Yes,
Something being a
everything is
construct and being true aren't mutually exclusive. Most things that we say when we're referring to interpersonal interactions are in a constructed sense, but I still think that they're true, you know. Otherwise, I mean, what does it mean for a person to be tall? You know, there's no set definition of what percentage or what, like, how many orders of magnitude above the average height of a given type of person, a given type of area. Like,
tall is
there's
a comparison.
Just because something's
It's such a
constructed doesn't mean it's
weird-
not true. You know, you can say a person's 7 feet tall and be true as hell to that, but finding a concrete definition, a non-constructed definition is hard. Yeah, so there's nothing wrong.
Watch your step.
That's not funny. You've always done that correctly.
Run. Watch your step. Run.
Okay, so keep switching up the definition of what sex is. It was all chromosomes. No, again, like, the biological community has made its mark on this. The idea that sex is purely binary and not bimodal is just not something taken seriously.
I wish he wouldn't say that without. I think you need to cite at least one author in the field if you're going to say something like that, because you're making a pretty outstanding claim, right? And I think the professor's trying really hard. Trying to be correct. I think when you say that it's not taken seriously at all, like, what do you mean by that, Bob? Like, give me like one paper that you're referencing or something, like.
In studies to this effect, so it seems quite silly. Look, again, like, even if you could like 100% male female differentiate,
Amiable?
it wouldn't
Amicable,
change any
sorry.
of my
Or no,
prescriptions.
amicable is what I'm thinking of. Amicable. Not amenable.
Amicable.
Amicable.
You're here, you're here.
You could make it, you know, so flat.
Let me change something.
Unchangeably, biologically male and female with nothing in between, and I would still say what I say. It's not really relevant to the argument. It's only the fact that you're wrong gives credit to the argument that the biological
We got the same thing.
Amenable.
No, this is a word too. Fuck you. And yourselves.
differentiation is inconsistent at best and quite harmful.
Me and more, the love of my life.
Also, talking about gametes? Like anyone looks at a person's gametes when they're trying to gender a person. Come on, that's always been the silliest argument, right? They start going back and forth. First it was what genitals are like, you have tits or not, or what your hair looks like, and then it goes further and further in.
The love of my
I'm telling you, it's going to be the
life.
half-life, the radioactive decay, that spin that you're going to get, and that'll determine it. We'll just judge our. We'll decide whether people wear suits or dresses based on that spin.
Made by Jim Bob says, Vosh, can someone with Benjamin Button disease, you guys, namely like aging backwards, claim an age inconsistent with birth date, but consistent with their apparent biological age?
I don't entirely know what that means, but if this is a question of like being trans age or whatever, keep in mind we're talking about magic here. I mean, you would have a person who's like, what, 5 years old, but has every imaginable, a trait associated with an 85-year-old or something. And I have no, I gotta tell you, I don't know how the legal system or the philosophical community would handle the existence of such a person. I imagine if they had the knowledge,
no,
wisdom, and
baby,
experience of an 80-year-old,
nauseous.
even if they were only 5 years old, they would
Baby's
probably be treated as like an
nauseous.
80-year-old because they're like,
Oh
they look and act like
no.
them. I don't really know that. You got when that happens.
Oh
okay, you
no.
can try to stop them.
Baby's not happy. Baby's not good. Baby's not having a good day.
I've already clicked on this.
Baby's not having a fun day.
Oh,
It's supposed to be fun.
Vosh, is it the case
I'm
that
procrastinating
you're
on
engaging
packing
in
for the trip.
an ameliorative
Probably do it tomorrow.
project when you mentioned normative standards for definitions? Isn't this just shifting the subject?
I love to ameliorate the conjugated definition of the superlative. Wait, what was it? I can't tell if that was...
Oh no. When I initially listened to this, I thought this was a Vosh meme. It was a joke dono. But I don't think this is a meme. It's actually
It's a thing into the
the
paper.
ameliorative inquiry that this guy brought up here relating to or actually it might have been a Vosh meme. I don't know. Was it actually a reference to the when the guy talks about this in the paper, or do you think it was a dono meme? I'm not actually sure. I don't know.
If that was a real question, or if it was making fun of how I talk. Which, either way, fair.
I could explain it if you want. That was a sort of question from.
Oh, is
the
that an actual
philosophical-
question? Whenever I hear the word ameliorate, I assume people are making fun of me because I use that word the way most people use ums. You know. Wait, James, can you repeat it? I just need to hear it again. I'll take it more seriously.
It's the
My
first
brain
time I've
froze.
ever seen ameliorate, or in this case, ameliorate.
It's a technical term from the literature. I'd be happy to just tell you what it means if you want.
No, I know what it means. I just wasn't listening to the question because I assumed I was listening for like.
I know what it
funny-
means, I know
was
what it
thinking
means.
of funny jokes.
That's
that
not what I
could
meant.
say in response.
They said Bosch seems to be engaging in an ameliorative project when he mentioned normative standards for definitions. Isn't this shifting the subject?
No, I don't think there are any types of other arguments that you can make when it comes to definitions. I think that at the end of the day, even when you're making descriptive arguments about definitions,
You're
you're
making
ultimately making the
prescriptive things about
prescriptive
language.
statement that we should adhere to the commonly accepted descriptive statement. I don't think there's any-
Decrypto. What?
After all, these are things that we construct.
These are things that we
You know,
ameliorate.
It's
at
a
the
little
end
bit
of the
like
day, right?
like slavery, right? You know, like people
Well,
make
this is an
arguments for and against
off
it
group,
when
but
they used to.
hey,
they still
should have a
do,
good
but
time.
They did more in the past, you know. But if a person's only statement on the subject is slavery exists for X reasons, even though that would be a descriptive argument, if that was all they contributed to the discussion, it would still serve the role of a soft prescriptive argument in favor of the institution. Because when something exists and has the capacity to be changed, an acceptance of and passive defense of the purpose of such a system is considered to be a kind of soft prescriptive argument for it. So, of course, yeah, I'm not saying this all slavery. I'm
Vosh
just saying
ameliorated slavery in this debate.
You
it's
got
been
it.
known to
And then,
happen.
Dr. Bogardus, are you saying that in the specifically the word ameliorative is a concept or term from the philosophy of gender?
Ameliorative inquiry is a little phrase that has a very specific meaning in this philosophy of gender literature. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you what it means?
I'm curious.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
wanna
it's
know.
just and it's the project I described when I said like, hey, we've got this biological definition. Even trans-inclusive philosophers agree that's what the word has traditionally, historically meant. But then when I said like they don't like that, they don't recommend it. They think that we should use the word woman to express a different concept. And when they're deciding which concept to express with the word woman,
Oh my god, this guy's got
this
fucking
is
lit gear. Holy shit. He's got the best gear when it comes to the...
analysis that is meant to make the world a better place to ameliorate injustices. And so there are explicitly moral inputs into the project. They're asking themselves what concept would do the most
Okay.
good in the world. And so I think Vosh is engaged in this sort of project. Yeah, it is
$99. I'll unpause my donuts.
a technical term from the literature. So the theory is by self-efficacy using an old word to express a new concept.
Bam!
Control.
So feminism was about being females. And now we're just using the word woman and expressing a new concept, maybe a social worldview or a self-ID view or something like that. And so we're not talking about women anymore. We're talking about something else. We've changed the subject. So this is a common worry about a conceptual engineering project. We'll just be changing the subject. But I think that's, just for what it's worth, I think that's the least serious worry. The more serious worry is all the rest of the story is that it becomes exclusive. You got it? Here's what
Dude, no.
What is your own definition
Dude, this guy just fucking on me. Death grip him. You fucking cunt!
So again, if you just ask me what is my definition, I would say community. And so if it's what does this word ordinary
Yeah,
mean?
bro.
What it means for the history of feminism and for at least this idea that it means. And again, there's a case of philosophers agree. And I'm just going to use this opportunity to say what it is to be female and what it is to be male. So I agree that if you ask people what is biological sex, what is it to be male, or what is it to be female, you'll often get from ordinary people answers in terms of gender or chromosomes.
No
or maybe
shot.
hormone levels. I don't know if you watch documentary, but you ask people, what is it to be women, and you get these sorts of definitions in terms of
Jesus, bro.
stereotypes and so on.
Fuck.
But as we briefly discussed during our little back and
Are we
forth,
doing well?
if you
We
accept
can't be doing
that,
well, boss.
sexual reproduction
Won't make it.
it occurs across the animal and plant kingdom and has been going on for a very long time, longer than science
Ground
has
control.
existed. This is a very old sort of strategy that organisms have used to reproduce. You will realize that genitals are not required. I'm told, I haven't actually checked, but I'm told that a lot of male birds just lack external There's no particular sort of chromosome structure that you need in order to be male or female. If you just think about how plants do it, it's super complicated. Think about how a platypus does it, it's very, very different from how we do it. Hormone levels aren't required. You don't need any sort of particular
Wait,
hormone level.
how can he
My
defer to
understanding is the
public
most basic
definitions when he's using
organism that reproduces sexually, and it's only a couple thousand cells.
Ground control.
Some of them produce sperm, some of them produce eggs. That's all that biologists have meant by male and female. Now I agree that male and female have been confused about what it means to be male and female, and sometimes they're confused by a sort of chauvinism about our own species.
How can they be
But if you just think about what biologists mean when they say young organisms, when they say the flower is female parts, and here are the female parts, they are talking about gametes. And when they say males produce sperm, females produce ova, they
yeah,
mean the
two
same
scale
sort of
binders.
thing that they would mean if they said hearts pump blood, kidneys filter waste. They mean
Oh, we're on the right.
functioning properly. This may be interfering
Ground control.
functioning properly, that's what it is.
Wait, I have to jump in briefly. How can you go with the majority of humans is not going to make it. Not going to give. This
Oh,
definition.
there it goes.
There's like the common definition is the one
Ground control.
but now you're making specific.
Oh, this is gonna be a nightmare, bro. Oh my god. There's no way we're actually. Yeah, bro, that's a big ass pull, bro. A bit heavy, a bit.
Because you just go with what's commonly accepted. That's not the case at all.
I don't know if we were
What it means
prompted
to be
for
a
that
woman
one,
is
but
literally one of the most discussed topics today. It's hugely contentious.
Not
I mean, that's like
99%
somebody
of
asking
people,
you what
though, right?
honor
that was
is,
kind of
and you're
ballsy,
like, well,
though.
I go by the historical definition of honor, but there is no single historical definition of honor. Certainly not we use today. It varies massively. It feels like you're trying to assume the legitimacy of the common definition when the one you use is used neither commonly nor specifically by scientists.
Oh my god, Vosh moment!
I think this is a good point, Vash, and this really brings up something that we disagree very deeply about. Namely, I think when you use the definition, what you really mean is like the conception that people have in their minds when they use the word. So if I ask someone, what does male mean? They might say XY chromosome or something like that. And you say that's their definition. But I don't think that's right. I don't think that's the right use of the word definition. I would have thought that the bullets look towards their conception.
Ground control.
Associations they have in their mind when they use it. And then you can look at the way people use words because it's possible for a word to be systematically misused. What you should look at is what the word actually refers to. It might be commonly misused. People might have mistaken conceptions about what it is.
Okay.
But the true definition
No
the real
shot,
definition
this goes across the
is
board.
the word.
Like all the science. What is a
We do
true
investigation.
definition?
Let me give you an example. If you had asked Aristotle what is water, he might have given you his conception, and he would have said something like it's an element, although he would have said it in Greek. Yeah, and it's probably possible. Yeah, it's probably possible that some people have systematically misused the word
Ground
if they
control.
were unwilling to attribute it to ice. But here's how you figure out what water is. We did some chemistry, and we investigated the lakes and the rivers and the ice, and we found out, oh wow, turns out water's not an element. It's a molecule, it's H2O. We did something similar with biological sex. We noticed this lakes and the rivers and the ice, and we found out, oh wow, turns out it's not an element. It's a molecule, it's H2O. We did something similar with biological sex. We noticed this and we get these two subtypes within a lot of species. Some of them produce sperm, some of them produce
A bit rough.
I was talking about the biological sex a moment ago.
Why? I don't understand why Vosh never asks him. Is this really the best way?
So
Why
you
doesn't Vosh ever
bring
ask
it
him
in
who do you
combat.
think the woman is? Why doesn't he push him back? He does later on.
Well,
In the
biological
Q&A.
sex, which you think infers what a woman is.
Which I think implies what a woman is.
I agree that it might imply it.
I'm sorry, inference is something that people do. Implication is something propositions do. Don't worry about it.
Shockwave.
My issue is that it feels like earlier you would
Vosh is trying to like understand before that. Doesn't Vosh try to find like the one thing that
Special coming.
what you do is you try to find like instead of actually trying to engage substance. What people would do is instead they just figure out without the person saying
Shockwave.
having a strict definition versus going with a popular definition.
What just hit me?
Shockwave.
The purifying burst, literally, it had to hit me with something else.
when it comes to like, okay,
It literally like two-shot me.
then you have a hyper-specific definition, and you justify the validity of that definition by saying that it's not the popular use, but rather than true definition, which seems like an ontological distinction.
Yeah, dude, I
Special
don't know what
comment.
that purifying fucking shit is, but that shit actually like one-shot, unironically.
So that just happened there. So when I described how biological view, I did claim this is what the word ordinarily means. I might have said this is what it ordinarily means, and I think that's right. I don't think it's the ordinary. So this is what the word ordinarily means. And when I say that, I don't mean to say this is what people ordinarily have in mind. This is something Socrates discovered. You know, you ask people about ordinary terms and they're at a loss to articulate a definition. So when I say this is what the word ordinarily means, I don't mean this is what people have in mind when they use the word. I don't even mean necessarily this is the way the word is ordinarily used, because again, use is at best an imperfect guide
Okay,
to
what do you
use.
mean?
What I mean is this is what the word refers to. As it's ordinarily used, I don't think it's misused. This is what the word refers to.
How do you decide what it refers to?
So the same way we did with water.
Oh, we're just okay.
Oh,
Oh, there it is.
We were interested in. We had different words for it. He thought it was an element. We have discovered through scientific investigation. And now we know water is H2O. Scientific investigation. We did something similar with biological sex. I mean, Aristotle was aware of this phenomenon, but he was not aware, again, he had discovered the scientific essence of biological maleness and biological femaleness.
I don't like him. I don't like that statement. Like, we
Keep hating your
discovered
life
that
then, working class
water
Andy.
is H2O. Like H2O is another another model. I feel like he's getting, or I'm not getting a clear distinction between like mention versus like actual mention versus oh god, is it use mention? What was the distinction exactly? Like, are you referring to model thing or
Okay, guys. Oh, Jesus.
could you not also, could we not conceive of two things? Isn't that the case?
I don't know what you mean by the true essence, but I think fearless justice is the mode of investigation.
So when I said we discovered the scientific essence of water, what I meant was H2O. We've discovered the essence of gold, which is atomic number 79. This is something we discovered through chemical investigation. That's all that's necessary to be gold, is to be atomic number 79. First, humans have commonplace aware of gold. We weren't aware of what it is, essentially. Chemistry disclosed that. That's what I meant by scientific. Biologists did something similar with biological sex. So we're sort of crude theories about the concept that we connect to we have since discovered facts about sperm and eggs, and that was the discovery of the scientific essence of biological sex.
Like the fact that we consider isotopes to still be a member of that element. If an isotope has one extra element, we can still be a member of this
This is true. That is this guy's
word to be about noble gases, but here we go. I guess I just deny that when we're investigating the world, our primary interest in like deciding what
Yeah, we chose that.
our primary
Chris, you
interest
just
is
said
truth.
that.
Rather, we're interested in the truth. Like if it had somehow turned out that not distinguishing between the noble gases had somehow benefited humanity, I think we learned that, you know, if we just stick with Aristotle's view and just got these 5 elements, humans will be much better off. Scientists wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't care. They just wanted to know the truth. And they saw these distinctions between the noble gases. They were like, let's introduce some terms and learn what's already there. I think that's what we did in physics,
Target you.
chemistry, and biology. So, yep. Nah, that was
We'll jump in with this last question, and then I want to remind you folks, our guests are linked in the description. So, if you have not heard enough, if you're like, I want to hear more, I want to learn more about their views, you certainly can by clicking on those links in the description box below. Here is that question.
Target you.
That has ever been associated with any vague woman. Are they?
Yes. So I have to say, I have no idea what a human would have to be in order for their behavior or personality to have no overlap with any
12
of the
minutes,
many
doable.
incompatible,
Very doable.
incoherent, and self-contradictory values we associate with what it means to be a woman. They would have to be remarkable. I'm trying to think of like a male actor. Like even Dwayne The Rock Johnson acts like kindly and charitable sometimes. You know, every time he smiles, well, smiling is considered a feminine characteristic. So yeah, I don't know. You would have to find a brick, you know, like a proper brick. But you know, God bless her. You know.
And with that, one of the things we really do appreciate our guests. As I mentioned, you can find their links down below in the description box. That includes if you're listening as a podcast, we put our guest links in the description there too. So I want to say one last thing. It's been a true pleasure for this very cordial, stimulating conversation. Boss, with regards, it's been a true pleasure. Thank you.
It's been a tremendous pleasure. Thank you.
100%. Stick around, folks. For the post-sports upcoming debate that you don't want to miss. With that, thanks so much one last time to our guests. I'll be right back. Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys.
I just feel like it's back room, so I mute myself. Oh, I didn't mute them, did I? Oh, I forgot. Oh, I just muted. Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I forgot something. Well, whatever. Okay, this is the point that I'm trying to make here. Okay, definitions in and of themselves can be right or wrong. Definitions can be contradictory. That only means the two are contradictory, not that one of them is right and one of them is wrong. Definitions can also be useful or not useful, but again, that's not the same as being right or wrong. So here's an example of that.
I don't think you can allow this.
Right here, the periodical, okay? So he was distinguishing between utility and truth, but there's no time for that. Because the thing that he was doing was he kept conflating between the obtained facts of the world
Watch your-
and the categorization of things. He kept saying that, well, you find the truth of things like the way we do with water. Okay, but that's when you return to the fact not categorized. So an example would be, when you take a look at the periodic table, everything here is a fact of the world. The number of protons and
Watch your-
back to the world that exists whether or not. But the decision to group noble gases, don't get me wrong, noble gases do have plenty of things. I don't know what they are. I'm not a chemist. They do have things in common, but
Watch your
we didn't group them like a universe. The only reason periodic tables shape this way is because have you ever wondered why water with hydrogen starts over here, other side, all the way over here, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Watch your
We grouped it arbitrarily.
I just there is a world where Voss's statements here make more sense. You need to bootstrap way more onto this to get there. But I feel like this is the worst possible.
watch your
Like the worst in terms of things that are constructed in art. He needs to never use this word. I think okay, here I'm gonna give Voss the best intellectual. Maybe it's the best.
special coming.
Watch could literally get rid of quality of his understanding of the world.
Special coming.
Like select elements that have similarity.
Special coming.
But those similarities by our perception of their use.
That their similarity is determined by culture. No, like
Special coming.
all perception is like how many nails like something like how big the electron that really like all like those
Special team. coming.
kind of like feature of the world. It's just this is a really bad example. Or maybe it's the best example. This is really almost impossible. Maybe the Reddit goes to the no, because I already know it's gonna be some fucking card. It's gonna be
Watch way.
Actually, Destiny, there's a couple of different ways you can rank periodic tables, but why is your hard set correct? You guys are arbitrary how you list it out, and we really don't list it out because it's
like I guarantee you. I'm real. I think Destiny's mega unfair to watch. I don't think watching. I think this is normally unfair to watch or spiteful. Even sometimes being unreasonable.
Watch your step.
Oh,
My understanding what Bogdan said is the period table can rank in such a way that the is useful to quickly analyze properties of interest. Yeah, but it's not just necessarily properties. It's also like underlying probably factors that cause these properties. Periodic table exists as a character system different elements that are useful to simulate.
Watch way.
But I want to push back against this like social construct, arbitrary. Everything is social construct, arbitrary, social construct. Like all matters that are going to be right? Like
Special coming.
I just Vosh is like used this. Vosh is used this so much.
What I mean? Like I've said this before.
Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking lose my shit.
Like, okay, imagine that like humans, the civilization ends, all right, and all
I actually just lose my shit,
Watch
bro.
your step.
and a million years from now, aliens come to Earth, they find like a rubber, and all of this shit is meaningless to them. They have absolutely no idea what anything they do.
And this is also kind of one of the things that I've said this in the past. I've said this in the stream. I've said it before.
Watch way.
Aliens would probably unless they have some totally different way of understanding, like they have a different sex that I can't conceive, maybe, or access to like a different type of universe, maybe. I guess we could conceive.
Watch your
There might be an but pretty powerful.
No, like because it's so damaged. Like their technology is way better.
watch your
Like the way they would use and categorize from our culture is the way we would group and categorize. Like I would group and categorize stuff based on our resources.
That's it's periodic table elements is just like
Watch your.
oh no, like, they might just be based on like the color that elements have when they're in the gaseous form or something. It's conceivable, but so hard to imagine.
To me, water bottle helps me drink when I'm not near the sink. Game controller helps me lose in Elden Ring. This Berserk Shirka and Guts clock is cool, and I like looking at it. You know, a chicken is a chicken. Like, that's what all this means to them, like, to me, right? But to them, like, they wouldn't have the same associated meanings. They might group things based on elemental composition or based on color, you know? Like, they might look through these ruins, see nothing but aesthetic value, because nothing here is practically useful, and then collect things based on texture or color, you know? Like, that's the thing. And they wouldn't be wrong to do so. It's just, like, the usefulness relative to them. Does that make sense? Do people get what I'm talking about?
We're just like, we are engaging in such weird levels of, I don't even know what you call this. Like, we're like everything, we're like in nihilistic meaninglessness of everything at this point. I don't know, like, how to even, I don't know. I can't even. I can't even, guys. I can't even.
You just call me babe?
I call everyone babe now, don't feel special.
That was, quite something.
Yeah, good times, fun times.
I think like in 10 years time, right? Do we really think that, because this is the thing, like if I were someone like you, like I had your kind of pulling platform, like Bosch does, or Hassan does, like you would become public.
This is gonna be a pain.
I'm
realizing this now.
Leave a history, like a good history, where you don't look like an absolute dumb fuck, right? And just that 1 minute where he talks about the periodic table and he doesn't understand what the noble gases are. I mean,
Well, I think the issue is
a
I don't think a lot of people. I don't know. Fuck, I feel like I learned this in high school. The periodic table elements is like very, very, very rigid in terms of not only its organization, but like the properties it predicts. Like there are a lot of elements that we can predict the features of, and that we did in the past. Like we predicted the behavior of certain elements that hadn't even been discovered yet because of the arrangement. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, someone said that this is irrelevant. I guess it is. Well, I mean, everything else, but I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of what Bosch said, I think, is like I disagree a lot with the professor was. Not because I think that they're stupid. I just they're very much coming from a different method. But Bosch just does the thing where, because this didn't used to be his position. Although at the end he did say that self-ID is all that is necessary.
Well, he tries to maintain that throughout because the more radical left groups that he hangs out with, like, constantly maintain that, so he's forced to, regardless of whether or not he leaves that position, he never changes his mind.
Right.
Because people like Demon Mama and Catholics are pushing that, and he has to like stay loyal to that camp. It's about political.
Right, and then he shifts over to sort of my camp, and what I thought was your camp, at least last time we talked about this, it's been live, that, you know, womanhood or manhood or any sort of gender, its definition is going to be it's pluralistic, and it contains a multitude of things that changes over the course of time, and I think like Vosh said, I mean, I think it depends also on culture. I mean, you said, like, on average, you'd be able to successfully point out what is a man and what is a woman, right? You would probably get that right in most societies. I like no
almost all
disagreement there.
throughout like time and space.
Of course, like, but like I don't, but like that's just sort of I would say a quirk of nature. I mean, that doesn't say anything about what it's supposed to be. It's just so.
Well, I think it speaks a little bit to the idea that there's probably some underlying fact of the matter pointing to male and female having some congruent definition from time. That it's not just this amorphous, nebulous, esoteric thing that we are fooling ourselves into believing exists. It's probably some.
No. I mean, of course, it's not that. I think it's so. Well, my point is largely, if we look at the history of. I mean, because there have been societies, and I mean, Bosch said this, of course, and probably people laugh, but I mean, there are societies where there are individuals who don't fall into either gender role, and I think looking at them, you wouldn't be able to actually successfully identify them. Now, these people are rare, right?
Yeah, I don't actually know if I agree with that anymore. I used to, but
Mhm.
I've gotten so much email from a couple of indigenous scholars and then a couple of history people that like it feels like when we quote things like Two-Spirit, we try to have this Western understanding. We're like, oh look, they had trans people.
Oh no, I mean they're not trans.
Yeah, the reality is that it's usually, or it's oftentimes like men that couldn't fulfill like the social roles of men, so they basically get like relegated to this like.
Oh, well, don't say that.
What do you mean? I mean, these are the history. You're gonna have to give me a better argument, like with the story, because like a couple people that are like very historically minded have like emailed me and like also wanted to send me books and citation shit where they're like, it's just that nobody like the progressive understanding of trans never existed. People were like, oh, they had third genders. It was never like, oh, like a progressive understanding. Sometimes, like in ancient history, it was like they had third genders so that like high status men could fuck low status men without it being gay. So they'd have like a third gender created for them, stuff like that. But I mean, if you disagree with that, that's fine. But like, at the very least, I would push back against the notion that like there was ever like a progressive understanding in ancient history of like third genders. I don't think those ever existed.
Well, I mean, but if you look at like the history of biology, for example, the idea of there being two biological sexes is, and I mean, if you look at the going even back to the ancient Greeks, I mean, this idea of two divergent biological sexes is, at least in Western science, I don't know enough about Eastern science, it is a relatively recent invention.
Maybe like maybe the formalization of the concepts, but the arrangement of society around them is probably as old as human history itself.
Yeah, I'm not denying that there have been concepts that people use that generally include, you know, hair in certain places, certain genitalia, and at times also what I would include social roles, certain behaviors, groups that you participate in, people that you interact with. I think that those things also are included in the concept of gender. And I seem to remember you agreeing with me on that last time, right?
Yeah, I don't think you said anything I could even disagree with, right?
Right. Well, are you accusing me of being intimidating?
Well, I mean, like the way that gender is performed across history has varied, like at different times. Like I think, yeah, I would probably agree with that, right?
Okay, and so you would just probably disagree with this guy who was trying to get to. He was trying to basically say that the meaning of these terms lies ultimately in their reference.
Well, I don't know if this guy would disagree with that statement, that like how genders are performed or whatever. But I think he would argue that performativity
at least according to his paper.
No, I think he would say that like there might be different gender roles throughout time.
5,
It doesn't necessarily
4,
it doesn't
3,
necessitate a
2,
gender sex distinction.
1.
That socially, the spaces that men and women occupy might be different. It doesn't mean that different things describe what's going on.
Can I float something by you and see what you think about it? Just because we see a constant correlation between something in nature doesn't mean statements. Would you agree with that? I'm not saying that it's. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, there are things we can observe that like the way a particular ring drops some special classification or something.
Right, and we don't need to assign certain significance to it. And my point in bringing this up is that at least from what I didn't read the whole thing, and based on what I heard,
5, 4,
regardless of whether
3,
this professor thinks it's
2,
not, this is what a lot
1.
of a lot of transmedicalists they attach it to specific biological concepts or a group of biological concepts, which I mean, if anything, often goes
Watch your step. Watch your step. Watch your step. Watch your step.
You're making a statement about what is a thing.
You are participating, like you can imagine it like a game. Like everybody has been using this facility.
Watch your step.
I don't, but I mean, like, why? No, I wait. How does it make a difference?
Watch your step.
Yeah.
Right, so
I don't know
there's
what that means.
there's a publicly accessible link. So this is what happened. We don't have to. So when they said, well, what's your definition? What he was trying to say is, well, I mean, I don't. It's very thing that, I mean, if you were to ask, but is going to say that we have come to actually know the meanings and see if it's not getting aspects of that. And I think that's what these
Watch your step.
Jesus, bro. He's just actually just getting murked. Pyramid. Let's see if I can react.
that meaning, that the meaning of words like woman or man comes down ultimately to what that is specifically what it is. Sure.
Watch your step.
Concepts always.
Why do we know that?
As in, like, if I go backwards,
Script.
or if I even if it's definition,
Watch your step.
if it's still referring to something, we have to go back to any historical civilization. Oh, that's even though this is
Jesus, bro. Oh, I might die.
Watch your step.
But then we come across a bunch of seeing all of them in different species, different stages of evolution. If our definition of these things, then clearly there's
Watch your step.
something missing that's missing
Watch your step.
I'm saying that if I could go back in time,
Watch your step.
yeah, okay, yeah, so for that, I think it was like,
Watch your step.
if I were to go back to the second case, he's wearing earrings with other jewelry on, and he has long hair. And a man back then would go, these are things that he wouldn't say, wow, that's if I were
Target you.
5,000 here. Or even have a low
My only point is that if we're going to be big and easy to count, people that don't easily fit in
yeah, well, that would be for Roger. Like, yeah, I mean, I would argue it seems like gender.
Target you.
So we might have so men might have like the gender roles like more honorable, more and that's not the same. It might be kind of so abstract from biology will get
right. Like again, I think and I think this is what Bob was saying is that our understandings of gender is when it comes to those very roles like you're talking about. I mean,
that I have no problem with that, and that would be easy. I think you could say that these people really
arbitrary.
yeah, so they're not arbitrary. They're right.
Yeah, and like, but so that's ultimately what this all this. I mean, he just doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. How many cycles of this data are going
Watch your step. Watch your step. Watch your step.
When it comes to trans,
what do you mean?
if you don't have sports
Well,
the current keys negative connotations of trans.
so anything that's not self-ID is anti-racism. Well, I will say this, that in practice,
In practice, yeah, you kind of have to do it. If we're relying on yourself,
that I want is that, and this is what I say to everybody, especially fucking dipshits in the chat, right? Is that if someone wants you to talk about a certain sexual
well, sure, but that's is where getting back to
of course, and yes, we can have that discussion, but I also think the day-to-day practice, like,
Okay.
well, so this is
Why? We have a whole bridge, guy. What the fuck? Bro, I don't know what that. Why are we going down here?
one.
It's such a weird hole. Like, we have a whole bridge to go down.
One is that the public.
Okay. Did my
Wash, to be clear, is full on. That's what it is.
Well, but his arguments aren't ever for that, really.
No, well, his arguments are all over.
Well, and if he does, it's so bad.
Yeah, his arguments
It's
are all
like
over.
so
He has
fucking
to
weird, bro. These
necessarily bought
guys
into
are just
it
like
to be full stop, because that's where
big
like
yikes.
Demon Mama
Biggest of bigs.
right now. So he's just completely has to be bought into that argument.
Oh my god, Demon Mama's hilarious. But specifically, like with respect to that debate, I don't think that professor did really like I think he said. I think he was being too ambiguous.
That'd be better
Yeah,
survive,
he should've
brother.
pushed back
I
harder
ain't-
some
I'm
areas.
not gonna be there for a minute.
His mind was after the opening statement, even from Vosh.
Yep.
His mind might have been in a million different areas.
We're not like academic philosophers are not debate bros, really. Like I've never met a
You're not gonna
I've
survive,
never met a
bro.
professor who I'm like, oh, they're gonna fucking own me in the debate.
Sure.
Like-
well, except for that one from God's Not Dead, who wants to own his philosophy student who's a Christian on whether or not God is real. I know what you mean.
Yeah, true. But where do you fall right now with respect to like skepticism?
I'm pretty much unchanged on that. Like the foundational core of who I am is still like ultimately skeptical. And I'm gonna still maintain those notions. That's why stupid it is.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like I'm the exact same way. I'm a skeptic. But do you think that there exists? No, I'm not interested in moral stuff right now.
We're not gonna do it.
Do you think that there is a perception?
God, it's so pathetic, bro. These guys are I don't understand it, bro. What, did you really have to fucking...
Unless you want to do some
I don't understand fucking absolute retardation. Absolute retardation.
Like, the point is you want to how far. This is my issue with a lot of philosophers. And, like, for example, I think that they try to do.
Please, for the love of God, if you guys don't kill these in the same time as DPS, I'm just leaving. I don't give a fuck about your key. You guys are just wasting my time. You guys are all in the same guild.
Talk about incomprehensible. That's beyond.
Well, yeah, because you want to be able to make statements like you want to be able to make strong moral statements.
I know for a fact, the same shit's gonna happen, bro. The same exact shit is gonna happen.
With absolute certainty, this is morally correct. This is like a moral truth. 100% correct and grounded in truth. Like, it feels like you have to step outside of this.
Well, I mean, that's where the constructivist sort of framework comes in and aims to establish moral objectivity from the self, right? Sort of own consciousness and the way that it is structured. I mean, obviously,
Fucking super sad, bro. Like,
complicated,
I don't understand it.
the ethical case is way harder than like the epistemic case because I think like everyone
Super
can
sad.
pretend, like Bosch can pretend to reject and be like this epistemic, like hyper-anti realist, but they're just searching facts.
Let's see,
in
what we
that way.
got?
I mean, they're not strictly facts; they're descriptions of our experience. But there are certain ways that our experiences just have to be, right? And for them to be otherwise, we would have no ability to experience
Oh,
it.
no, I
Right?
was so
And
excited.
That's that type of healthy skepticism.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but like depending on how like anally you want to get about the topic, right? I could like pose like Descartes' demon to you. Like you don't even know if your experiences are real. Maybe it's just a demon showing you in line.
No, I can't. That's perfectly fine because this is. I'm trying to. I'm not giving any names on or saying any positions. I think you'll like. I think it might be a new argument that you can employ. If you agree with it, you might actually completely disagree with where I'm going. But
Nice.
for example, like describe
Nice.
encompass.
that like, well, if you tell me that like through, I guess through a constructivist
Spires.
lens, through our experiences or whatever, we can build some truths out of that. I mean, couldn't I argue that like, well, maybe even your experiences are lies. So if not Descartes' demon, then the modern variation of that of like brain in a vacuum.
Right. So yeah, it's a lot. Like meaning that there is. So like, let's just get that out of the way. We'll say that, and I'm just gonna call it the transcendental object. Okay. But we can call it the thing in itself, right? We'll never have true knowledge of that, okay? And so,
Sure.
for example, what people are talking about in theology, what I think a lot of people are talking about in theoretical physics, not all of science, but a lot of areas of physics, like dark matter and stuff. Facts probably about human consciousness. I think a lot of this stuff is beyond our capabilities as human beings or as rational beings, and essentially this argument against any kind of skepticism you give me is going to be that regardless of how I'm deceived, whether they match up with reality or not, I'm always presented in the same kind of necessary way.
Well, I mean, maybe, but again, this is why you get ultimately skeptical. Because I could say that, like, for instance, like the universe is inconsistent, and you might say, well, no, it's not, and I'll say, like, oh, well, yes, actually, all of your memories have been wiped, and now all the rules have changed, and you would have no way of even knowing that, right? So I feel like this is why I don't try to consider anything related to ultimate skepticism, because it's always like a nihilistic black hole of meaning. And
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's really hard, right? And I think that's something that we see on display from people like Bosch, right? Like these are really complicated and difficult, ideas, and people spend thousands of papers working and building blocks and frameworks and definitions, all to explain, pick out, very nuanced slicings of, these certain cognitive behaviors, and and like Bosch, who is just sort of just going with whatever the fuck that he wants. But again, regardless of whether we're being deceived or not, whether my beliefs match up with what is actually out there in the world, it's not even conceivable to me. Like, for example, just consider the fact that all of our experience goes through time.
okay,
Right?
yeah.
It doesn't even make sense to comprehend any form of experience that doesn't run through time in the exact same fashion.
Sure.
If we were to do that, it would no longer be right. So there's necessary truth and knowledge that you have, right?
I mean, assuming that never changes, sure, but
Well, we have to assume that's sort of the point. Is
yeah,
that
I don't disagree with you. I make all these assumptions.
necessarily have to
This is
believe
how I
it.
function. Yeah, I don't assume that like tomorrow time is going to disappear ever for any of my arguments or anything like that.
But it's not just an assumption.
Well, I mean,
We're
it
gonna
is
have a good
Well, you
23.
think well,
It'll
I
be
wanna convince you
amazing.
that it's not an assumption.
Optimistic right now. Really optimistic.
I'm not going to try to prove. I can never prove to you that it mirrors, that our world of appearances mirrors how things really are. But I can say, or I feel confident in saying, that we necessarily have to perceive and experience the world in a certain way to even be considered someone capable of having experience.
Okay, what's the next one? We're circling the
What,
drain.
you can't back up all your philosophical positions now, huh?
Well, it's just that I'm just gonna keep
conversation.
repeating the same thing over and over again because this is why it's called ultimate skepticism, not penultimate skepticism. It's not like the step before you figure it all out. Like it's circling the drain of like stupid questions. Well, why? It's like philosophy for 2-year-olds is what I'm just gonna keep saying, right?
Right, but the point at which you start to admit of truth is like pretty much everything else.
Yeah, but it's the point at which I agree. I want to agree with that, but the reality is that the real thing is like you're gonna say like, okay, well, when do I just want to stop asking questions because this is fucking boring, and that's when you can start doing real philosophy. So like some default assumption should probably be like I can probably trust the sense data I get about the world. I can probably trust like some basic like axiomatic truths. I can probably trust things like deduction, and then from there, because it seems like these things are unchangeable and can never change. and will never change. So then you move from there. But there's no reason to really think that. Like they could all change tomorrow. You have to admit that tomorrow you could literally be born in a different body, not know it, not have any recollection or memory of where you are now, and you might be in an alternate universe where time goes backwards. That's possible, right? Inconceivable, but possible. But like,
Right.
But and there's no way to like argue against that. But at some point you have to say like, okay, well this is like mental masturbation. Let's just make some assumptions and then go from there.
It's not just like anti-probabilistic. It's that like there would be like what you're describing is, I guess, metaphysically impossible because there would be loss of a subject by what we
I mean,
need.
you say metaphysically impossible, but maybe the metaphysics of a different type of universe would allow for it, right?
But by metaphysical possibility meaning within our current metaphysical laws and.
Well, but if you're already giving that constraint, then it seems like you've already conceded that, like, well, the metaphysics of
Yeah, I would never rule out logical, but there's no, contradiction or inconsistency in acknowledging the logical possibility, but only that us right now, as human agents, are necessarily going to be experiencing.
Yeah, I understand, but like, what if you're part of a computer program?
Ooh, this is
and
gonna be
your
a
metaphysics
fucking
is
sick
whatever
team,
program?
bro. I believe it. I am
I'm
in
not making
full
any
faith
claims
of this
about
one.
The actual entities that they are, it's almost purely relational.
Well, if you're right? Theoretically.
Pardon?
Even relationships could theoretically be defined by a system. And those relationships could theoretically be true. Again, like tomorrow you could wake up in a different body. Or maybe tomorrow you wake up as a chair. You're not even conscious of it. You're just a chair.
Well, no, but I disagree. I disagree with that because I cannot be a chair.
But how do you know that? Well, I know you don't understand it. I mean, that's the whole point.
Chair. Tell me.
I wouldn't know because I'm stuck in this system right now.
Because it's not possible. And that's sort of the point.
Dispel.
Jesus.
Dispel.
Okay, I want out of the. Okay, what's the next thing? Before I talk about anything else.
Jesus fuck, bro. That shit was. Why we literally got 2-shot. Dude. This is actually so insane of damage. Dude, I don't know what's hitting me. What is actually hitting me? Curstigator's knowledge, bro? What is... This is wild. Holy, 7 off rip. Bro, this is wild. Oh, That shit hits. Holy fuck. That first pack, actually just insane so far. Jesus.
Dispel.
Oh, he's got no cloak. He's got cheat death. That's about it. That was all me. Oh my god, this is rough. I don't know why I was targeting that. Why egg? Oh no. I'm going into it. Oh, okay. Well, that was rough. Damn, bro. That seemed like we were taking heavy. We were literally getting 2 shots. I need to look at that bot, actually. That's actually, like, absurd of what was happening. Heavy. We were literally getting okay, shut up, Jake. Nobody likes when you talk. Jesus, shut the fuck up. Okay, so that's not it. That was the chalked one. Okay. So let's put it at 1440. Okay, let's figure out. Okay, see, I'm seeing Dark Lashes go out. That's fine, because it looks like it's all going on the tank. I start trying to pump. He gets 2 shot. Looks like Sweep Blow went out. Forsworn Doctrine is the one that killed him. No. I literally got 2 shot by what? Oh, Rebellious Fist got off. That's right. So that's, yeah. Okay, so I'm not as heavily concerned because that was definitely not. I can't do anything about that. People aren't interrupting Rebellious Fist. We do die unfortified. Yeah, that was rough though. Monk was dying left and right. Jesus.
4chan, like the alt-right stuff did, but it also it penetrated mainstream culture way quicker. The alt-right never really made the jump from 4chan to Facebook. QAnon, like almost, it feels like QAnon almost instantly went to Facebook. The old alt-right was literally built on hatred. Like it was the driving force behind a lot of their shit.
I'm worried that your definition of alt-right is becoming so narrow as to just map on perfectly with neo-Nazi.
Well, traditionally that is what alt-righters were. But the problem is progressives wanted to expand alt-right to include everybody. Like they were calling, I could be wrong, but I feel like at some point in time, I think people were calling Trump an alt-righter. I have no problem of accusing her of lying. I don't know if you think I'm gonna like jump to her defense and never say a bad thing about her ever. I don't know if you think that's the type of person I am, but yeah, I would say obviously, I think she dramatically undersells how extreme her views were a few years ago. I would say that 100%. Why do you keep trying to link this Fuentes video? Dude, I don't care about Fuentes' economic analysis, okay? I'm good, thank you, though. Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I crazy or were those guys all... They were, like, way more, like, TradCon-y a while ago, right? I guess they've kind of, like, abandoned the TradCon shit and now they're, like, urbanites. That Kai dude seems like he wants to be more TradCon, but Fuentes doesn't seem so. Not quite sure why you consider Groyper different from alt-right. It seems to me the difference are so minimal that it's not worth distinguishing. Oh yeah, some guy made a big Reddit post on the alt-right actually still exists. I guess if you want to define alt-right as just like far-right people, I mean, I guess the alt-right still exists, but I reject that definition. I think it's vacuous and silly. And I reject the motivation for that definition. I think people just like that definition so that they can keep saying alt-right, because alt-right is like the spookiest way to label people without like making any effort to understand like different types of motivations or thoughts that they have compared to groups in the past. He said Lauren was alt-right. How did she fit it? I think that any type of like, so I would consider it to be a really important part of the alt-right stuff is like anti-Semitic or like racial kind of like supremacist stuff. And even if Lauren never was explicitly alt-right, she was definitely in the wheelhouse of like doing content. Like she did like interviews and stuff with like Stefan Molyneux, who was very much like into that weird kind of like the race realism shit, the weird philosophy shit, the how would previous Lauren fit it but not Fuentes, Linfeo? Go talk to them. Fuck. Pisco, I don't think you're very good faith when you're dealing with people that are like super politically disagreeable with you. I think you are with me, but like, I think that the direction that Fuentes' movement takes today feels significantly different to me than it did in the past. But like, you guys are like so like fucking rock hard to like find like one fucking anti-Semitic joke and go like, look, they're still the same. But like, I mean, if that's how you want to be, like, it's not like an argument. I don't care that much about it. If you want to think they're all right, that's fine. But I mean, like, you're gonna look clueless to anybody that is either one in these groups or two that knows anything about these groups, because they're very clearly different in the way that they function today than they did in the past. A lot of the political ideology is premised on a conspiracy that a cabal of Jewish elites is behind a lot of social phenomenon. I would say that like a lot of the alt-right stuff was like very big on that. But I would say that like the stuff that Fuentes does today is like more like paleo-conservative / Christian nationalistic. With like, there's still that, there's like the elitism, or the elites are controlling everything kind of bend, but it's nowhere near as much the focus as it was, I think like 4 or 5 years ago. Or 3 or 4 years ago, whatever, when Charlottesville was that in 2018? Hello? Is this working?
Yeah, a lot of people over 3K in this group. We should be fine.
He's still constantly calling people Jews and crypto-Jews on Twitter like 5 times a day. Yeah, but I think that it's more irony-laden now than it used to be, whereas before it used to be like super serious. Like, alt-righters literally believe Christianity is a Jewish style. Like, I firmly believe, I don't expect anybody to agree, or any of you guys at least to agree on that. That's fine. But like, you guys are going to be calling far-right people online, you're going to be calling them alt-righters like 5 years from now. Like, that's going to be like a term that you guys are just using forever. But I mean, that's what you want to do. So the alt-right was just far-right anti-immigrant people, like I would say, I would have argued that alt-right can mean a little bit more than that. Like, another issue too is probably like, I think a lot of people think like, oh, alt-right is alt-right doesn't mean very, very far. Like, implies like a different like alt-right implies like a specific set of judgments. You to think they aren't like this, or the pointless to speculate like this? I just like to
Only one death, not bad.
I think it's fair to say a lot of the alt-right was assimilated information. No, like I said, I would say that like, I think that set of movement kind of, I think it kind of died with the Charlottesville shit. And 4chan to Facebook. QAnon, like, almost, it feels like QAnon almost instantly went to Facebook. That's what it feels like. And once something hits Facebook meme levels, you're like mainstream. Like now you've got, like there were no such things as boomer alt-righters.
No one is alt-right.
You didn't have like
Sorry
except
for
maybe
typing cooking, great leader.
Steve Bannon. You didn't really have like mom and dad were like fucking alt-righters. That didn't really happen. You know, maybe there were a few, but not in generally. But there are a lot of boomers that are QAnoners, which yeah, I think speaks to the more mainstreamness of that thing. Because QAnon targeted by the yeah, I know, but it's just like a lot of people, a lot of you guys included, because I would be willing to bet probably half of you guys think this, that like at some
Keep
point in
hating
time,
your life, then.
like
Working class
the alt-right maybe was like 10-20% of the Republican Party. Like I think a lot of you guys right now think the alt-right was really the alt-right was pretty on the it was never like a mainstream part of the Republican. It was never like
Shut
a lot of you guys in my check. A lot of you guys think like, I think, oh, the alt-right, maybe they were like around the same size as like this. I think a lot of you guys, not even remotely. I think the alt-right generally thrived in like the fringes of like kind of like.
Special coming.
And then you had Breitbart. Although even Breitbart, with Bannon being, Bannon said he was like the peer to go right. Even Breitbart didn't really like the Jewish shit as much as like 4chan. I don't know if you'll ever convince me that Republicans think there was no Paul believe the The thing is, you have to understand is most mainstream Republicans, most mainstream people
Shockwave.
fucking love Israel. I love Israel. Unironically. Stop this kind of you guys who you're talking to literally who is saying
Targeting.
every time I talk about this, Destiny's delusional. The alt-right is still there. There are millions of them waking up right now, coming to rape your children. But people make posts on
Shockwave. Special coming.
Nobody buys into this. Even old Republicans don't anymore. The Republican Party, I'm pretty sure, is like the party of Trump. Like, if I had to guess, this is a guess I'm gonna make. I wonder if Trump ran as a candidate, I would guess that 75% of the Republican Party would vote. Maybe more. That would be unironic. It wouldn't be like 50 to 20% fall of the answer there. I think that like 75%. I've talked to my parents. They said, I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, if President Trump is independent, would you vote for him? For somebody like Ted Cruz or Rubio or DeSantis, they would say
Shockwave.
Trump 100%. It's not even like a, it's not even a second thought. Trump 100%. But I could be maybe my selection bias. But the yeah, like I think the Republican Party is a huge identity crisis where they're like really allegiant.
Shockwave.
I think if you were to have an honest private conversation with Nick, he'd tell you that the primary antagonists of his political system are the Jewish elite. Only now he may also include adjacent elite demographics as well. Yeah, Joe, I like my feeling is it's hard to fish this out from all the irony, so I have to use a little bit of intuition here. I think that if I would have talked to Fuentes 4 or 5 years ago, I think that what he would say is that like it is Jewish people. There is a Jewish cabal of people around the world that are kind of coordinating policy to fuck with and undermine white people. I think that if I talked to him today, and honestly, he would say like, yeah, of course Jews are part of it, but like there's a whole bunch of non-Jewish people. And like, yeah, maybe Jewish people have like some alignments or whatever. But like the elites have expanded for the elite state, some democratic would all be wrapped in that. It wouldn't just be like exclusively Jewish people. They would just be part of like this larger environment. Are the Ron Paul libertarians gone now? Yeah, of course. What's different from a Nazi and an alt-righter? I thought alt-righters were pretty similar to Nazis.
It's actually nuts.
Like they functionally and ideologically, I thought they were pretty good. That was always my historic understanding of like the difference being that Nazis actually had like some hardcore racial ideas, and alt-righters just replaced all of that. He definitely is not dancing
I don't
himself.
think Steve Bannon was ever alt-right. I think he's just a dissident.
He definitely is not dissing himself from JQ, though Destiny, he's dancing around it so much. Yeah, but because I mean they use like a lot of humor in it, right? But I think like part of that is what they do. And then when people like you attack them for being ironic, like you'll never believe me on stuff like this, and I don't expect you to. I don't. But it's kind of similar to like when I make like a racial joke in the street. Like somebody will say like, somebody's like, oh, Destiny is racist, and then one of you guys are like, Destiny's not racist, come on. And then we're like, look at his tweet right now. It's literally a joke about an ex-Nazi insane. Like, how are you gonna tell anyone else? Maybe he is, right? I think that they engage with a lot of humor, similar to what I have in the past. I think you have to be able to separate out or tease out this when it comes to gradual, subtle way. Yeah,
Ron
it could
Paul
be in
2024, Ron Paul 2024, Ron Paul 2024, Ron Paul 2024, Ron Paul 2024.
Probably Bell Pepper, but Pepper's like Pepper's almost equal to Wilson. I love Pepper. The difference I feel is that a majority of people are watching the movies without the irony thing. They feel like they take Nick's turn. I don't know. Maybe we do it closely when we do our cozy stream. We got rid of all the like. Okay, so like here's a question. I'm relying a lot on it. I think if you told people 5 years ago, they said if we got rid of all the Jews, white people's position would be significantly improved. I think they would have overwhelmingly said yes. If I asked that same question today, I don't know if the answer would overwhelmingly be yes. I feel like they would say there's a lot of other special
Hey, bud. It's real quick. It's real quick. It's another definition conversation.
The problem is that like sometimes I say like political ideology. If somebody say X, Y, Z, if they said X, then their political ideology Z, and like that's it. Like it's such a simplistic way of understanding like how groups of people think, and you can like basically categorize anybody into any belief system, depending on the types of questions you want to like rigidly ask there. But
I'm not giving. I just want to be clear. I'm not giving any affirmative case on what alt-right is. I'm not saying that there is alt-right presence. The conversation is not about whether or not I have a belief on what alt-right is, or whether or not they're a big force in the community, or comparing them to the Tea Party, or comparing them to any other group. The question just seems to be like, is your definition even coherent? You made some statement in our discussion with Lauren Southern that you thought that back in 2016 she was alt-right.
Either alt-right or Jason, yeah, because she ran like all those subjects. I don't know if she ever put. The thing is, anytime I hear like, and it's hard to pick out because back then there was a way more love. Like people would say something like Western values. It was really hard to pick out. Like it might have been the case back then. But she was like, maybe Lauren really did believe in Western values, but there were other people like Laura Loomer and Stefan Molyneux. When they said Western values, they meant white every time. And that was
Target
like, when you hear Western values, you think white people. And I think some of them even later clarified, like they went from like, oh, I'm a civic nationalist, like, no, I'm a white nationalist, I'm a civic nationalist. So like that, yeah. So it's hard to say, obviously, with a lot of these people. Lauren probably never made a video explicitly saying, like, I'm talking about white people's values. But whenever she was talking about like immigration in the past, it was always videos of brown people in the past with scary music saying, look at how bad things are. So it seemed like, at the very least, that's what was being signaled.
So you're not sure whether she was alt-right back in the day?
Well, I mean, 100% no, but very few people would come out and say it. But there were other people where like,
If you had to
like,
guess, like what?
well, the thing is that like, so like, I don't know if she ever made a video relating to like race realism. Whereas Stefan Molyneux, I believe, would engage in race realist conversations pretty frequently. Or like JF Garrieffy would talk pretty frequently and explicitly, like, yeah, there are racial differences. Whereas like Lauren, so it could have been a dog that could have been sincere. She would just say like, oh, well, different people have different cultures. But I don't know if she means like, is that like wired in their brain, right? It's just hard to.
Actually, anything that previous Lauren Southern was in 2016, whatever that is way lower than the Groypers now. Way lower.
You think
Don't
so?
you think?
Wait, well, what do
Yeah.
you say lower? What do you mean by lower?
In terms of the level of anti-Semitism, what you're saying right now, what you're saying, Destiny, in full 4K in front of your friends, or who might say this to Lauren, I don't know, is that you think that 2016 Lauren is more like apparently anti-Semitic than current day or even previous day Nick Flynn.
Or at the very least within those groups. Yeah, I would say so, 100%. And again, like this is like a feeling thing based on, yeah, I feel like the anti-Semitism shit online today is way less than it used to be. It used to be fucking wild. Like people were literally trying to dox, not like Dan, but people were unironically accusing me of being Jewish. Unironically, like there were threads from I was saying anti-Semitism happened way higher. There was this that's what it felt like.
I've seen some of the apprentices, and it seems that every moment he seems to be bringing out the same kind of more than ever.
Oh, there it is. There's the rift. It's alright. We got plenty of time to finish this end.
Some of this content to watch for informational purposes and for my own edification. I see this like on nitrous. Any kind of thing that I've ever seen of Lauren Southern's, it just seems to the nth degree. Whatever Fuentes is putting out,
This is pretty wild.
whether it's conspiracies about Israel or
Wait, hold on. What
Soros
are you saying?
I don't-
Are you saying that what she used to do is worse than what Fuentes does now, or
no,
it
no,
wasn't?
no. The other way around. My intuition is that Fuentes is more apparently anti-Semitic than Lauren Southern was in the past.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe we'd have to gather shit. I just don't.
And I think
I
that
wish I
she
could
would
like
take
pull
it as
the
an
like.
insult.
I think that I don't wish we would take it. I feel like I feel like if I would have like so if I would have asked them like said that we had a big immigration. So like here's a question that I could pose. If I were to ask somebody like, should we be deporting a lot of brown people from the country? I feel like a lot of the people that were part of the extreme right movements online are like, yes, we absolutely need like huge deportations for brown people. Whereas
Wait,
today,
Fuentes has literally said that we need to stop all immigration.
yes.
I don't think-
Hold on.
But
Wait, hold on. Wait, you're actually like so beneath this conversation. You can see a difference between those two things. Please tell me you can see a difference. Do you not? Are you actually that stupid? You're not that stupid, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There is a huge change in position from we need mass deportation of brown people versus we need to have a more racially restricted immigration policy.
But Fuentes is explicitly race-based in a way that...
You do not see the difference. Can you engage on this one point?
Okay, in the policy of stopping all immigration on any particular criteria versus explicit policy.
Deportation of brown people. There's a huge difference.
There's a difference. I agree with that.
Huge difference.
But I think if the policy is
Watch
laid out
all.
correct, but two things. One is I don't think that Lauren has ever advocated explicitly for deportation on the basis of race. Are you saying that she ever said that?
I don't know if she did, but the communities that she hung out in, the types of videos she made, were right there, right?
Well, that's
Walking
guilt by
around.
association, right?
Watch all.
Yeah, in a way, but like it's groups that she chose to associate with the young messaging almost functionally identical. So like in a Great Replacement vid, all of her things were talking about like this is the horrible shit that happens when you they can't have your culture. And it's like brown people and black people in background. She made a video literally just walking around Paris saying like
Watch all.
look how horrible. Or no, she didn't even say anything. She was walking around Paris with a bunch of brown people. And then in an Australian interview, she's talking about like, oh look, like this Chinatown, this doesn't look like Australia. Like, so even if she didn't explicitly say it, that plus her association with like the Identity Europa group, people like Stefan Molyneux, like it's about as what?
But Fuentes has explicitly said it. The races are not meant to mix. I remember watching one of his programs where he's like, I have
Watch
an
your
attraction to Asian women, but I can't. I just can't. You know, I can't.
Yeah,
be
but I think a lot of it is like, I think a lot of that is unironically ironic, like humor. Like the way that they engage with it today is just so much different than like in the past. I can't believe you don't acknowledge the difference between people saying, I mean, we want to
Watch your
support all brown. That is like an insanely extreme position. Whereas today,
I had said that.
sure, but today saying that like I want to like restrict immigration related to kind of like race, you could probably get a comfortable amount of mainstream conservative support. Almost. Like you're very close. No, but these two
Watch your
because of the deportation, because of the motivation.
deportation is huge. You're talking about like genocide, basically, right? Because you're talking about like the state mass deporting or having to kill people who don't want to be deported from their country, versus
I've never heard of one paper for deportation.
no, I don't think she ever explicitly. Some this is what I'm saying, like this conversation is like so sophisticated or nuanced. Like if you're gonna ask me, like now it sounds
Special
like
coming.
you're talking about people today, and then I'm talking about like, and I'm you. But if you're gonna say like, is there a video where Lauren Taylor said we need to deport brown people? I don't know if she ever explicitly called for that. I don't know if a lot of them explicitly called for that, but that's essentially like where all the messaging led to.
Special coming.
It just feels like
The entire messaging of like the alt-right figures back that in those days, some of the more extremist people on Breitbart, like I think also or a lot of like the rebel media people, who basically saying that like our whole population
Special
is
coming.
or like we need to figure out how to stop it.
do you think Nick says things like that all the time?
Says what?
That run by certain races, that races
Special coming.
that each should keep their own.
Sydney, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know what it's sounded anymore. I'm not sure. I was really surprised in my last conversation. Yeah, maybe it was the next one. I was really in my last conversation. They all fell off.
There's a problem. Do you think that white people should be, it's fine if they get married and have
I
children?
don't know, because a lot of their messaging, so like for instance, like they've abandoned the whole like track con wife thing.
Special
They don't want
coming.
that anymore. Now they want like urban city girls. They don't care, like they are very big on like Hispanic is not a race. It's all about mestizo, castizo, and different variations of that, which I guess they kind of said in the past. But it feels like, as stupid as it sounds, it feels a little bit more big tenty today when it comes to racial shit. Whereas in the past, I think the racial stuff was hyper fixation on those movements.
Watch way.
But yeah, I don't know. I also spent a lot of, I think a lot of people, I don't know if you're there, I don't know what you're doing. I think a lot of people's engagement with these movements, like headlines and articles, well, like, I feel like when you dive into it, back then, dude, like, anti-Semitism and, like, racism was, like, dripping. Like, it was just, like,
Watch your step.
visceral. Like, we have to get these brown people out of our country. Jews are fucking destroying the white race. And now it's just like, oh, those Jews guys, you know what, fucking brown people, you know, waving to blah, blah, blah. Like, it's still there. I'm not saying that these people are, like, they're, like, altruistic, like, oh, no, all races are equal bullshit. I'm sure a lot of them still believe in, like, varying
Watch way.
elements of, like, race realism, or a lot of them still believe in varying elements of, like, Jewish smallness. I'm sure that's there. I just don't think it's, like, a hyper fixation. Like, it was all right. It really was built on hatred. Like, it was driving towards
Oh my god, bro.
It's real conspiracy stuff that it's complete opposed
I
to
guess I think that you're doing your friend a disservice.
Special coming.
Which one, Nick or Lauren?
Lauren,
Why
I
am
really
doing
do.
it?
because I think that I've taken the time to watch his content to make sure that I knew what he says, and what his beliefs are, and everything about what he says.
Watch your step.
In past drips of the exact same stuff that you mentioned. You say that you don't watch streams.
Not as much anyway. I don't like my Twitter. So maybe I'll try to invite him on for a talk.
Well, I think you're just gonna mean.
No, I think he's even when he memes, it's like listening
Watch
to
way.
Nick talk is a little bit like listening to Christian talk. Like even when they're memeing or lying, you want to be able to just get enough understanding of their memes, you can kind of understand like what they're saying. Does that make sense? I don't know if I do. Maybe I need more conversations to set that up. But I mean, like just like Putin lies, but he doesn't
Watch your step.
right? He lies very purposely for a reason. Wasn't Lauren literally in panels with Stefan? Oh, she was literally in interviews with them, like side by side.
Oh Jesus.
Do you think that if you ask a direct question, do you think that political race mixing is a good thing, or do you think that it's
Special
bad
coming.
if white people have
children.
Well, I think there's like, I think
he's gonna answer that.
I think there's an interesting.
I'm a dumb
Ask
fuck.
the answer somewhat honestly, because I'll notice when I am talking to them, because I always have to, they do try to wiggle out of answers. Their chat gets really, and they look like a pussy. And it's like if you've got a leader of your group that can really, like honestly represent his view, especially because like what reason does he have to hide? It's not like he's gonna get banned from YouTube Twitter. He already is, you know. So like if you're
So if I
Watch
what,
where.
what answer would he have to give to the following question? For you to be like, oh, it's all right.
it's okay. Hold on. This is why I can't. My brain and ears don't plug in at this. It's not gonna be like if he says these words and I can 100%.
7 minutes, we got it.
Way more
That's-
productive, like sophisticated, like holistic understanding of everything that's going on.
So there's
it's not
no
gonna be like,
there's no
yeah.
set of statements and beliefs that he could say that he agrees with that would make him in your mind all right.
No, because it's super
no-
gonna depend
no
on like
beliefs.
how it'll depend on like how he agrees with things and like the way that he phrases what he says. It's gonna be a lot more, not even nuanced, but just like there's gonna be a lot more layers to the conversation.
So
It's
if
just,
he
like,
said, if he literally said Jews are trying to take over the world, there's Jews are behind the plan to third grade studies are in charge of most of the media and all that stuff, and that it's our job to fight against that influence, Israel lobby. He said those words verbatim, and then he also said, and also race mixing is bad, and I'm black people, Jewish people here, and we should fight against that. He said those words. You would say not all right.
I would say probably all right.
There are a set of words that he can give that.
Yeah, there are, but again, it's not like it's just not that simple. But like I mean,
You just said it's that simple. He said if he said those words, it's all right.
yeah, like if he said it exactly like that. But like for instance, like if I ask, like, do you think the Jews are like controlling like they're like they can give me the same answer in two different ways. You know, like there's just like I don't know how. I think that you could say the same about me for a lot of things. I think that you can quote the fuck out of me to think that whatever for me, I can be racist, I can be incredibly pro-trans,
Well, if I ask you a question like what it would take for me to prove your if I
We're
said
probably gonna die for this guy.
if I asked the question, do you dislike trans people because they're trans? And if you answered yes, would you be transphobic?
yeah, that would be a very basic to the point.
And I think that's like how most beliefs are. Most, if there are like certain things that you would say,
Fuck him
that
with
you
it.
barely be characterized as well, like you say that
Bam!
Christ is divine, that Jesus Christ is God, you believe in Trinity, that
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of people would necessarily like manifest that clearly. I mean, they could, but
if he said he was all right, you believe he's all right.
oh yeah, I'd ask him what his definition was. Oh yeah, like I said, fairly.
3 seconds.
So really, the only question we're trying to, if you're making fun of
No way, bro.
Bam!
Control.
I'm making fun of people that still talk about like the quote-unquote alt-right as a if you want to talk like this, there's separate conversations. One is like alt-right, the second is like alt-right is like, and I think a lot of progressives online still.
question. The question is the movement vigorous? Is it around? Is it a boogeyman? Should we worry about
Well,
it
because
more
that's
than
what
we're
everybody
not?
seems to get at. It's
That's
like,
separate.
Oh, they're still here. Sure, you can say that it's separate, but I think that's what is driving a lot of people. Oh, the alt-right's still here. They're dangerous. They're everywhere. But in reality, they probably wouldn't even call themselves alt-right. They probably call themselves. America First, right? That's what they Or they might use like Christian nationalism. They might use pluralism. They might use those. But function, they could have like similar beliefs or something. Much the same that like I would say when I say there's Trumpers today,
So we're definitely gonna get it, but goddamn.
maybe Tea Party's a little bit closer to small times. In terms of because they still maybe supported big business, small taxes. I don't know. I have to think about it. But like, I'm sure you could find political groups that have a big overlap in beliefs, but they're like they distinguish themselves as separate movements of people.
I'm worried that your definition of alt-right is
Bam!
so narrow as to just map on perfectly with neo-Nazi.
Well, traditionally that is what alt-righters were. Progressives wanted to expand alt-right to include everything. Like they were calling, I could be wrong, but I feel like at some point in time, I think people were calling I'd have to go back and check because with Bannon in the White House, you could see Trump was like anti-Semitic or like secretly like alt-righters. Obviously, the whole everything was losing. I'd have to go back and look, but it felt like at one point like alt-right was like I remember when we were obsessively hunting for pictures for people that made the OK sign. We were obsessively hunting for every type of fucking symbol. Yeah, and it's like, okay, Jesus Christ, like that's what it felt like at one point in time.
That's fine, but you agree that
Bam!
should be different than
some.
Definitions can be what they,
Lauren.
definitions can be what they are. I just the problem is that like if people want to expand alt-right more broadly, like someone else in chat said, like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro was a part of like and then I look like me because sometimes I look like either right community. Alt-right and Shapiro, and they would all say, "Ben Shapiro, fucking Jew. What the fuck are you talking about?" Yeah. Okay, so it gets a little bit weird when it became like alt-right just basically meant everybody that wasn't mainstream Republican.
I get that. I understand that. But you seem to have made a big difference. I asked you, you think, because you were like, I think it's fair that some of my audience thinks that Lauren was a neo-Nazi. You said that, and then I was like, well,
sure,
a neo-Nazi. Like, so what do you think? And then Lauren
wait,
said,
do you
well,
think that's like a?
me?
Do you think that's a huge stretch? Or what do you consider a neo-Nazi? I guess maybe we just are all fucking lost in the definitions or whatever.
I think for neo-Nazis, like anti-Semitic, it's a little different than just anti-Semitism. I would say it's a belief.
Well, it's an anti-Semitic
race. It's a belief in.
Yeah, but the anti-Semitic part is kind of like
Hitler.
It's a big bedrock of it, right?
Yes, it's an organizing principle. I totally agree. And I think Nazism, the organizing. I've seen your debates with the tankies where they say, you know, Nazis can be Jewish, and so I see anti-Semitism as the organizing principle, the central tenet of Nazism. But look what you did. When we asked you, would you think that Lauren is fairly construable as a neo-Nazi back in the day? You said no.
Wait, what? No, I would have
yes.
said. I would have said yes.
No. You said alt-right. You said I wouldn't say full-blown neo-Nazi, but I would say alt-right. And if that's
okay,
just
if I said that, then I misspoke. Because in my mind, like alt-right and neo-Nazi have like they're huge overlaps, like functionally almost identical, except the alt-right is just like the newer variation of it. But I would have viewed there being like a massive overlap between like a neo-Nazi or an alt-righter.
Nice.
Maybe you could say a neo-Nazi is a little bit like one more step in that direction, but they're pretty close to identical, I would say.
In that case, I think that you have some soul searching to do.
About what?
Because you think that Lauren in 2016 was fairly characterizable as a neo-Nazi, or actually was.
And then are you going to say, but she said her views were the same as they were before,
how do you explain that?
I
Do you think she's lying now?
I think she is underselling what her views used to be.
Lying.
What? You can figure that one out. What do you mean, why? Why would somebody not want to say they were a neo-Nazi?
Lying.
Oh.
If you think she was a neo-Nazi and now she isn't, and she says her views hasn't changed, either you're wrong or she's lying.
Yeah, I think she's underselling what her views used to be. That would be my take on it.
Another way of saying that is lying.
Yeah, if you want to say lying, sure. Lying, yes. Does that make you feel better?
You think one of your like close friends is lying? Publicly? And you're okay with that?
Okay,
Didn't
no, I don't think that she ever... Wait, I don't understand. Hold on. I don't know who you think you're talking to. I have no problem of accusing her of lying. I don't know if you think I'm gonna like jump to her defense and never say a bad thing about her ever. I don't know if you think that's the type of person I am, but yeah, I would say obviously I think she dramatically undersells how extreme her views were a few years ago. I would say that 100%. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh, Lauren would never lie publicly about anything. If you're looking for that type of conversation, you're talking to the wrong dude. Yeah, 100% I think she's lying about how extreme her views used to be.
I think you think that's wrong, because when Bosch says that it's okay to lie for some end, you like make fun of him and you troll him.
I do make fun of him, and I would make fun of Lauren on political grounds too. I'm pretty sure, didn't she just publish it?
On lying grounds.
Lying would be the least of my concerns that I would have with Lauren Southern, okay? I haven't looked at the video yet because I'm not as obsessed with her as you guys are, but didn't she just make a video for Matt Walsh's documentary? I guarantee you that her fucking review of it is probably glowing. Right? That's my guess. I haven't watched it yet. Maybe you have. But like, yeah, I'm sure there are a fuck ton of political agreements or political disagreements that I would have with things that Lauren was saying, of course. Wait, hold on. Wait. Actually, hold on. Actually, I'm curious then. So prior to this conversation, do you think that if you would have asked me, Lauren Southern is 100% honest and truthful about everything she believes today and everything she used to believe, do you think I would have answered yes to that? Do you think I would have said, oh yeah, I think 100% she totally is?
I think you would have answered no to that. And I think, but my other question is like, why be friends with a liar? That's my question.
I think why everybody lies a little bit. Friends are hard to come by.
Well, this is like a big lie, right? You're lying about whether you're a Nazi or whether you were a Nazi.
I look at the motivations for why people lie and I make judgments on there. I think there's probably a good reason not to ever want to say that you were a Nazi. I don't expect most people to own those types of things publicly because that's a huge fucking thing. But I mean, like, it's also like Lauren's not like babysitting my kid. I'm not like investing a huge amount of like, oh yeah, like she manages my fucking retirement account. I hope she doesn't fuck me over. This is like a person I'm friends with online, right? So,
Yeah, no, I understand, but my next question is about your apologies position, which was, you said, I don't think that people should apologize. Do you think people should apologize for being Nazis if they were Nazis?
I don't think I said that. I don't think people should apologize. I might have like said that at one point. I just
want you to be clear. Like,
yeah,
you
what I
said
mean is,
that
I
you-
personally, I don't care about apologies ever. I don't ever want to hear one. I don't give a fuck ever. That's my position. If people want to apologize to people, they can. If it makes them feel better.
So you're okay with Nazis reintegrating themselves into society without making acknowledgments that they were Nazis?
Yeah, especially in
okay.
today's climate. I don't give a fuck about that. Yeah.
Oof. All right. So that's why you think.
Is it all right? Is it all right or is it alt right?
We got a debate, right, tonight? You're moderating?
Oh yeah, some guy emails me. He really likes you.
Oh boy. That'll be fun.
Okay.
Dispel.
Dude, I don't even know where these things are fucking coming from.
Dispel boss.
Why was he having it?
Dispel boss. Run out. Dispel boss. Dispel boss.
I don't know what happened with that.
Dispel boss. Dispel boss.
Not a bad one to go for. This one might be a little tight.
Run out.
Ooh, good play. Good play. I should say. Bro, you guys need to chill. I'm literally going fucking doing this shit, bro. Oh, you're just trying to be smart. Bro, you guys. Oh my god.
Run out. Run out. Run out.
This is just so much extra damn, bro. We are just killing this thing at a microscopic rate. I'm just gonna have to pop this. Please.
Run out.
Please kill this bitch. I'm done with it. I don't like her anymore. Bro. Absolutely brutal.
Attack totem. Watch your step.
Oh my god, bro.
Attack totem. Watch your step. Attack totem. Watch your step. Attack totem. Watch your step.
Yep. We are just chalking it, buddies.
Attack totem. Watch your step.
Oh, we're gonna die. 100% gonna die. 100% gonna die. 100% gonna die. Bro. I want to see who's fucking doing damage on the goddamn totem.
Attack totem. Watch your step.
$22k damage.
Attack totem. Watch your step.
Oh, we're just taking up time. There's no way. It's the first. Second boss, I guess.
Attack totem. Watch your step.
Oh. We're not interrupting. I'm seeing, literally watching you guys interrupt bars. There's nothing happening. Get in the fucking room, bro. This is so chalked. 18 minutes in and we got 10 deaths. And I thought that was probably one of the easier ones. Especially since Zab isn't on Tyrannical. But, yep. We'll see. We'll try to run it. Bro, it's so annoying. I got a good IO today, I should stress. I think this might be my last one though, so I can go start maybe prepping the packing. Warlock. I would be intrigued to see who was just get the fuck in here, bro. We're just not gonna fucking. There's no way. We're just... I get trying to push into your first 20s, but like you should know what to interrupt as a warlock, and you should know you should have a fell hunter out, regardless of your destro or not. You should have a fell hunter out, especially in that group. You have a hunter, a demon hunter, a DK. You should have a demon. You should have it out. I'm gonna say. I'll take a monk or a warlock. Wow. Bold.
I guess so. I just want to hear Nick say. I want you. So you're saying like, yes, Destiny. I went to the Capitol and I just wanted to protest with my friends. We knew that we weren't going to change the outcome. There was no pressure on the lawmakers. We knew that wasn't a realistic thing. We were just kind of going there to show how angry we were. That's what you were.
Yeah,
doing.
literally.
Okay.
Literally,
All right.
that's exactly. Because here's the thing.
That's all I wanted to hear.
There
No,
were
that's fine.
several
You don't have to
days.
elaborate. I just want to hear that.
Said, I say that we should not leave this capital until Donald Trump is inaugurated president. What did he mean by this?
You meant in 2020.
When I said we're not leaving it till Trump is inaugurated president, we're.
I have Destiny. I do far left, center left, far right, fasci. I don't know what the people say I do, but yeah. What's up?
Alrighty. So it looks like I'm on my own tonight, so that'll be fun. Alright, so here is what we're gonna do. I know that Rose and Destiny, or it's gonna be mostly Rose, but each person would have about 5 minutes.
It's gonna be mostly me.
Well, isn't that what you guys said?
Right, Destiny? Isn't that how it was?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, fine. Well, anyways, we're going to do 2 topics. The first topic will be about January 6th, basically, if you think it's an insurrection, if you think that people have been treated fairly. Obviously, we'll want to hear what's been going on with Baked, even though he kind of told a little bit last night, but I think he can go into more details if he wants. Nothing that'll get you into any kind of trouble, though, obviously. Yeah, I know Rose is going to go first for openings. We have about like 5 minutes each, or 10 minutes per team. So you can. Rose might go a little over, and then Destiny will get the gist of it. So it'll be Rose, then Baked, then Destiny, then Nick. So yeah, Rose, why don't you get started with openings then?
All right, excellent. So at 2:13 p.m. on January 6, 2021, the first of the Trump-supporting rioters entered the Capitol building. They had been brought there by belief in a conspiracy that the election was being stolen and that they could prevent this from happening by storming the Capitol. This conspiracy was propagated by Trump, Republican lawmakers, and the conservative media, including both members of our opposition for today's debates. This conspiracy is patently false. Trying to save your democracy is a noble ambition. However, the biggest threat to democracy on that day were not the lawmakers conducting the legitimate, peaceful transfer of power, but the rioters who attempted to interfere with that process. Claims that the election are stolen are completely and utterly unfounded, with no legitimate evidence to match the claims made. Lawsuit after lawsuit, case after case, with judges that were largely appointed by Trump himself. The conservative Supreme Court declined to hear their cases since they had no legitimate legal standing. With both control of the executive and the judicial branch, no attempts to overturn the 2020 election could hold its ground. Trump's own Attorney General, William Barr, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Department of Justice, and the Department of Homeland Security all affirmed the legitimacy and security of the 2020 election. In fact, they even go as far as to call this election the most secure in American history. Furthermore, we also have evidence pointing to dishonest motivation for these Republican investigations, such as Trump's "Find Me 11,780 votes" incident. In response to this truth, we may see a wide range of flimsy counterarguments presented by the opposition, such as, well, what about mail-in ballots? Just as with the overall election, there is no further evidence that mail-in ballots are unreliable, and they have been a secure staple of U.S. elections for decades. While it is true that mail-in ballots are marginally more likely to be fraudulent than in-person ballots, it is still more likely for Americans to support our legislators than if mail voting. As such, if Republicans are so concerned with the impact of their voting share caused by the use of mail-in ballots, they could just urge their constituents to remain authority and thunderstorms for a secure election. Despite this, the opposition may still want to squabble about the tiny amount of fraudulent votes, in which case they have to grapple with the fact that, once again, out of the very limited instances of voter fraud, most of them are due to mistakes in clerical, not voting, as well as the fact that not all fraudulent ballots are cast for Democrats. And we also see the conspiratorial film 2002 This film has been extensively debunked, and at the end of the day, there's a reason why it's a film and not a court case. Ultimately, there are no sound arguments for the election fraud conspiracy, and at this point, maybe your opposition's only option are absurd, non-falsifiable claims such as, well, maybe the Republicans just weren't trying hard. We may also see a range of false equivalencies between what happened on January 6th and election conspiracies with democratic instances of demonstration and investigation. What about the BLM riots? First of all, neither I, as you all know probably, nor Destiny support the BLM riots. Secondly, those being police brutality and racism are real, while election fraud is not. But what about the Kavanaugh protest? During the Kavanaugh protest, the Capitol was open to the public, unlike on January 6th. In fact, people who demonstrated inside the building stood in line for tickets in order to be allowed to enter. They're also not comfortable with violence, like the Kavanaugh protest was peaceful, whereas the Capitol riot was not. But what about Russian interference? Isn't that like the election fraud conspiracy? Firstly, Hillary conceded immediately following the election. Trump did not. Trump is still pushing the narrative of the Secondly, the Russian investigators did actually leak several indictments and proved the existence of Russian interference in the presidential election, specifically on social media. The election conspiracy has no such findings. We may also get conspiracies about how the police let them into the Capitol, and such claims betray either a fundamental misunderstanding of right management.
Jesus fuck, bro.
As such, it is
I don't think this chip throttles until like 95 or
Finally,
Bro.
equally unfounded accusations that Antifa or the FBI were present at the Capitol riots, and you know what? I can't really blame you, because if I was a conservative, I'd think that Baked Alaska was a psyop. This brings us to Nick Fuentes and Baked Alaska. I have sympathy for those duped into the election conspiracy by demagogues, but very little for the demagogues themselves. The election fraud conspiracies they pushed contributed to the stochastic force that compelled so many Trump supporters to show up at the Capitol. Nick Fuentes and Baked Alaska either knowingly pushed a false conspiracy, or they too were duped into believing it. As such, they're either deliberate liars or
How
so heavily
amazing.
infected with
Oh,
conservative brain rot
that was
you can
amazing.
different
Two
definitions.
polls. Two polls. Guy, guy fucking runs away. How
And streamed all the way
absolutely
through.
sick.
Despite all the talks about
fucking
conservative
nerd, bro. I
prosecution
hate fucking-
and hyper-politicization of the January 6 charges, he was given a plea deal that merely required
Like,
him
how
to plead
fucking
guilty to
infuriating
misdemeanors.
is this?
A plea deal which, may I add, he almost fumbled because he couldn't hold his tongue in court. Perhaps the prosecution was so lenient with him because of how very helpful his livestream was in identifying other rioters. Fuentes, on the other hand, was smart enough not to enter the Capitol building, although he had no issues inciting his fans to do so. In conclusion, January 6th riot was a violent event that resulted in millions of dollars of damages, hundreds of injuries, a half-dozen deaths, and a unique assault on the peaceful democratic transition of power, all driven by a bogus theory pushed by Trump, Republican lawmakers, the
Bro, I
conservative
feel like
media,
a bunch of
and the two
retards
members
around
of
right
our
now, and I
opposition
don't like
in
it.
Thank you.
Okay, Baked, if you want.
Bro, my shit is fucked, guys.
Yeah, well,
my shit
first
is
of all,
fucked,
there's
guys.
a lot of
Oh my
personal
God.
stuff in there. For an opening statement, I thought we were focused on January
What is
6th,
with this shit?
Buffalo shooting. Okay.
I feel like I'm in the shittiest
Interesting.
fucking battle group right
And we'll
now.
open
Like,
the floor after everybody gives
I'm
their
getting a bunch of
openings and,
fucking dumb shits.
Yeah, very, very interesting there. Thank you for that, Rose.
I wonder if my shit is underclocked.
All right,
itself.
well,
maybe it doesn't. Maybe it scales.
Yeah, I mean,
Close the game. The game is
let's
open on
see,
another
where did-
monitor.
I don't know where to start with.
Oh, he
this,
didn't
but,
open he didn't prepare a
I haven't
statement.
seen
He's
2,000 Mules. Obviously, there was fraud. There was major fraud in the 2020 election. There's so much evidence of it. You know, Trump got more votes than Obama. Yet you want us to believe that Joe Biden, the lowest
I'm gonna go take a break.
approval rated
Love you, baby.
president of
I'm gonna
all
go.
time, I believe.